And we are live. Hey, Concrete.
Hey, Danny girl, what's going on?
Girl, it's a Wednesday. I'm looking forward to the weekend, but it's not like I have anything to do.
Yeah, it is. It's hump day. Definitely Wednesday, even though for me, all of my days are running together. So, even though I'm off on the weekend, I'll usually pick up my laptop and do some work on the weekend, or I've been keeping busy. So all of my days are running together, but I ain't mad. I am not complaining.
I understand. I understand. Same here. It's just been a day. Nothing too much going on. Have you ever heard of a birth chart before?
Is it related to your horoscope sign?
Yes,
Yeah,
actually it
I,
is.
I know what it is. I don't know like the in depth. I don't have an in depth knowledge of it, but I do know what it is.
Okay. Well, I had my son's birth chart done today.
Did you really?
Yes. That's kind of been my new thing with the
Mm-hmm.
astrology stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fun. Lots of fun. And like I don't think people when you hear of astrology, when a lot of people hear of astrology, we immediately go to like our regular zodiac sign. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like a birth chart is actually like getting a snapshot of what the
Like a picture of what your life has in store for you, basically, right?
or what the planets look like, but yes,
Oh,
because it'll tell a lot about you. And
okay.
so me and Curlin talked about it, and I decided I wanted to get Solomon's done, so I got his done,
Mm-hmm.
and it was pretty interesting.
Did you talk to him about it? Like Solomon, does he have any understanding of what it is? And
The only thing he knows is that he's a Scorpio, and
uh,
so
mm-hmm.
with him being a Scorpio, trying to get to understand his energy a little bit, and he has a lot of a lot of Scorpio in his chart.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of caused alarm in me.
Oh.
Yeah, Scorpios are hell on earth.
Listen, child, I stay away from Scorpios. I know.
Really?
Yes. And I will hold up a crucifix. Come on, like,
OMG.
stay back, Satan.
My
get
mom was a
get thee
Scorpio.
behind me, Satan. Do not
Girl, my mom was a
listen.
Scorpio,
Uh-uh.
and
My best friend growing up was a Scorpio.
honey,
She was a piece of work.
facts.
And I dated a Scorpio once, and that's all I'll say about that. But I will hold up my crucifix, my ankh, and be like, "Get behind me, Satan." Mm-mm.
um, yeah, he has a lot of Scorpio in his chart. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh shit. Um, I need to be as prepared as I can. I mean, he's a really sweet kid, but he's a really sweet kid, and he doesn't give me
Mm-hmm.
any issues like outside of normal kid shit. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, whew, but what's there to come because he's a Scorpio and with a lot of Scorpio in his chart.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Man,
people,
listen, you gon' a lot of heartache. That's what's to come. Not from him. He's gonna be the one giving the heartache. So they're gonna be like, Miss Danielle,
girl,
is Solomon
literally,
home?
so
Bringing your Nobel
literally,
off the hook.
literally is what she literally was like, girl, girl,
Listen, I already know.
girl.
Like, I know how Scorpios are. That is scary. Like, but it's funny because in the comments I saw some, hey, 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 to all the black people in the comments. I'm sorry, I wasn't ignoring anybody, but hey, hey, hey. Someone in the comments said, "Is this witchcraft?" And it's funny that they equate you know like astrology and reading your birth chart and your being into your astrological sign and
Uh-oh, you're
kind
kind
of
of fading
digging a
in and
little
out a little bit,
deeper
honey.
to witchcraft. Hear me,
Yeah, now I
Danny?
can. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. But I said it's funny how they equate being into astrology as some sort of witchcraft, some sort of voodoo or like you're playing with
Girl,
black
and
magic or
if you
something.
knew anything about the Bible, you would know that the Bible is full of spells.
Yeah.
Full of spells.
The
So
crazy thing is that is the white man's doing. We practice Vodun, and we called out to ancient
yes.
spirits, and we mixed potions and stuff before we came to this country. And for those who believe that there were people of African descent already in this country, like that's part of our culture. It's not this evil thing that the white man makes it out to be, but of course we're conditioned to believe it is.
Yes. Yes. So
But yeah, that's interesting, child. Very, very interesting. I want to get mine done. I don't know. I'll be having so much going on, but I don't want it to. I'm one of those people. I'm a control freak, so I don't want it to tell me something that I don't want to hear. Like,
I don't think
mhm,
so you have some people that do birth charts,
mhm,
and I think most are surface level.
mhm.
Most are surface level. So you're not gonna really get anybody that's gonna tell you all like the really, really bad shit
Right.
that can possibly happen in your lifetime. Most aren't gonna tell you that. So I think that I think most people are on the safe side, but
Okay.
it will give you a lot of aspects to your personality. And it'll kind of tell you like why you like to do the things you do. You know what I mean? And I
Okay.
think that that's really interesting. Or like I've had mine done and mine, ooh, honey.
Was it
um
insightful?
very, very, very insightful. And I guess I would say that it doesn't make me feel so frantic as I felt before about life. And I think I was very, very frantic about life, about
Mm-hmm.
everything that was happening or where my choices led me. And then
Mm-hmm.
didn't make the worst of choices, but they weren't the best of choices either. But everything that you go through is sort of whatever path you're supposed to be on. And
Right.
sort of, and it goes to your life purpose and where you should be. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I think it did me a lot more good than it did any harm. And it's not like, well, I won't get into all that, but
Mm-hmm. Carlin,
I'm
Carlin, I'm gonna get the contact information from you because I definitely am interested in doing it. But I think it's interesting. We'll have to do something on, like, I know you've been talking about doing something on an esoteric level, and I think that would be something good to do, an interesting show surrounding
yeah, I
that.
think it would be. I think it really would be. I think it would be really, really fun too, because
Mm-hmm.
astrology can be really fun, especially like when it comes down to dating and stuff. Like um prior to Kerwin, I said I would never date another Sagittarius, and I'm a Sagittarius. I would never date another Sagittarius. Sagittarius.
Wait, Carlin is a Sag too?
No, girl, Kerwin's a
Oh,
Leo. Praise God.
oh, he's a Leo. Okay, good. Mhm.
Yes,
Y'all Sages can be a piece of work. I'll just say that.
honey, honey. Never, never, ever again, honey. I was like, ooh.
It's so funny when you hear these different things about your astrological sign, and like, because I'm a Gemini and I hear so much bad stuff about
Mm.
Geminis, and I'm like, that is so
I
wrong. I'm
don't,
like
I
the
think,
sweetest person in the entire world, like
no, but
literally, and my
listen,
natural disposition is to be sweet. Hmm.
listen. Geminis are actually some of the nicest people that you will ever meet, will give you the shirt off their back, will do a lot for you.
Facts.
But now if you fuck around,
But
if you cross over to that other side,
yeah,
because there are two sides, y'all are two fucking people in the same body.
that's true.
If you fuck around and cross over to that other side, y'all are vindictive, hateful, mean,
Listen,
trifling,
it's
will
like
touch
night and
you,
day. It's like
girl.
night and day. That's what the difference. Like with Gemini's, it's like you won't even recognize it. You'll be like, this is not the sweet person that I got to know. That's been like, but
Honey.
when you know what I mean, cross them us, it's you see a completely different side, and that's the where the two sides come in at.
Yes, yes. My best friend is a Gemini, or one of my best friends. She's a Gemini. And honey, literally one of the best friends you can have. But if I
Yeah, I'll do anything for my friends.
when I say that bitch is crazy as a box of rocks, I love her to death. But I feel like, oh my
You're
God.
wrong. You
I
are
think
wrong.
now what I think that and Sagittarius and Geminis are polar opposites of each other, right? And
Hmm.
so with that opposite polarity, we do share a lot of the same uh we have a lot in common. Um Sagittarius can be nice, but
Hmm.
we ain't gonna do a whole lot of work. We ain't gonna work for a
You know
whole.
what? I think that we like Sag and Gemini's complement each other because where a Sag won't give, a Gemini generally will, and it's an interesting dynamic. Sages are very, you guys are like stuck in your ways. You kind of have like a man up mind,
Yes.
whereas Gemini's are a bit more flexible.
Yes, very much so. Seem to be well, no, I actually think both are a little are both open-minded. Oh,
Hmm.
BAP's an Aquarius. I got an Aquarius moon. Hey,
Aquarius is something else too. I attract a lot of Aquariuses.
BAP.
They are.
Goddamn, emotionally detached asses.
Yeah,
Child.
they are, but they are like they have to be the center of attention. They
Ooh.
are like, oh my gosh, over the top.
SW1 is the Capricorn. Oh, that's the boss bitch. She gonna run it. She gonna run
Yeah,
it.
I have a friend that's a Capricorn too, but she's
Um, they
anything
gonna
you
be
want done, she can do it and get it done well.
yeah. They gonna have some money. I have never met a broke Capricorn female. I'm not saying that none is broke, but I ain't never met one that was broke or that wasn't on her shit. Let me see. A Taurus. Third War says he's a Taurus. Taurus, very, very, very stuck in their fucking ways, honey. I
You
dated
know
a
what else
Taurus.
about Tauruses though? They are loyal to a fault.
What?
Like you ain't gonna find nobody
Because they're
more loyal than
stuck.
a Taurus.
They don't like to do anything new.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they hate change. Absolutely hate change.
They ain't gonna change for shit.
Mm-mm.
D. Anderson says he's a Virgo. Oh, a goddamn type A personality. It's got to be in this order or it's not right. The fucking perfectionist. Yeah, honey. Damn, Virgos are a hot mess too, but Virgo women are fun. They're fun as shit.
Yeah. Okay. So this is we can see that this is something we must do, and we'll have to schedule it soon because, yeah, I think this will be a very interesting topic to to discuss. Do
Yes,
something
honey.
on signs. But about
Yeah,
our topic tonight, though, we
honey.
yes, I
The
think that this
value of a good woman. What's up?
I think this is going to be a good show. Yeah, talking about the value of a good woman. And I
Wait a minute,
definitely
girl.
have.
That goddamn Toss City is a Gemini. Figures. I should have known. Okay.
Don't do that.
Makes
Don't do
sense.
that. Don't do don't don't do that. You are completely wrong for that. Um,
Okay.
but I think this will be an interesting show. So we the notion that black women are bad people is constantly one that's constantly pushed in this space, but we're going to talk about good women and the value of a good woman, if there is any value, if there are good women that exist within the black community, and what are the benefits. We're gonna chop it up and talk about the benefits of a good quality woman.
Yes, honey. Yes.
So off
Um,
the go ahead.
So when we talked about this topic,
Mm-hmm.
I always kind of go back to the space of, well, dealing with people within this space and the men that's within this space. And I'm talking about the manosphere, and I'm not talking about everybody. Um, it kind of makes me wonder, have men actually had the experience of a good woman outside of their mother and family members?
That's a fair question. And I'm not even including their mother and family members because for some, even their relationships with their mother and family members, play into their views of black women being bad people. So some, their relationships with their own, immediate family members, kind of is part of what led them to believe that, either there aren't any good women or it played a part in their negative experiences with black women.
Right, right, right. And so when I get to thinking about that, I'm like, okay, um, the men here, I don't know. I kind of wonder, and I'm like, okay, if your mom was a good woman and you saw that example, or you've had to come across a good woman at some point in your life, um, I don't know, because it's like, now I think about good women, and
Well, do you
then
think there's a possibility that they haven't, though? Do you think that there is a possibility that some of the men, some black men have never come across a good woman, at
you
least a good
know,
black woman?
so the optimist in me tells me that everybody has some good in them.
Oh, I
Um,
agree with that.
sometimes, and it's not a lot. Well, about half and half. Sometimes I feel like the expectations are exceptionally high for.
Mm. Well, you're gonna have to elaborate on that.
Well, it's because sometimes I feel like the men want perfection from women.
Ah, I see. Okay.
And so when it sounds like they want perfection from women, now don't get me wrong, you're attracted to what you're attracted to, and I feel like you should go to what you're attracted to. If you're attracted to somebody, attraction is a big deal. But it's like, this might be fucked up, but it is what it is. Sometimes it just seems like the expectations are hella high for what a guy is saying that he can bring to the table. And what we're
Uh-oh.
coming in for,
You gonna get pushed back on that.
it is, and it is what it is. It is what it is.
Okay.
I'm not sick of it. Yeah, I'm good. So, and I kind of look at it like most guys think, if I'm able to provide
Mm.
and I don't have a criminal record,
Ooh, yes.
automatically makes me a good guy.
Okay, go ahead and preach then. Because you are preaching, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Um, that seems to be a common misconception that if I don't have a criminal record and I am able to sustain myself, or I have a fairly good job, then that I'm a good guy. However, you rarely hear a discussion surrounding the character of the men. Like people, they'll say, oh, women are overlooking the good men, and women just want to bypass the good men, and
Right.
men, but generally the basis of the claim is, they're overlooking men who are, have a job and are, seen as decent daddies, but
Welcome to
nobody's talking about their
Ray
character.
Rays, honey.
Right,
That's
right,
all
right.
we want.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's it. That's all. And I think that, you bring about an interesting point because I think that's a fair question. Like, first of all, have these men been exposed to good women? And though for those that have, I would venture to say um, it probably has not happened all that often in their lives for so many of the men, specifically in this space, to have such negative views of black women. Maybe they don't come across good black women every day. I've heard the notion that, you know, the good Black women, and I want to know your thoughts on this.
Mm.
The good Black women that exist are likely the 20%, meaning 80% of the Black women are not good women. So what do you think about that?
Whew. Like I said, I think all women have, excuse me, all people have good and bad within them. And so don't get me wrong, I feel like standards, there should be a set of standards. If you're a person who doesn't want to date single mothers and you don't have kids, I
Hmm.
absolutely believe that can be your standard. There should be
Right. That's
standard.
your prerogative.
If you want to date a beautiful woman that's a size 7 and or excuse me, a size 5, and she wants to date you, get what you can. And now, and I would definitely encourage men to get the best woman you can get. I absolutely encourage that. But if you're sitting over here, hairline receding, stomach all fat, shit just ain't in order, personal, professional, whatever, you hear some of those men requiring that the woman be a dime and she has to be this and she has to be that and she can't be this and so you asked me a question and I kind of lost my train of thought and it just dawned on me that I lost my train of thought. So I got my pen and pad here. What did you ask? Concrete, are you there? BLS and holding, I think a lot of men want perfection. I think a lot of people want perfection. And so even with Black women, a lot of Black women, we bring a lot of bullshit to the table, but we want the 6-figure nigga with a Benz and the house and no kids and a big penis and him not to cheat and we want all of it. And it's kind of coming to the realization that the perfect person does not exist.
Mm.
And so, what are you willing to put up with when you're dealing with a person?
Mm. Well, you know they're gonna say we shouldn't have to put up with anything. But I was trying to answer your question. You asked me what was the question that I asked, and I was
Yeah,
asking about the notion that there's only 20% of the Black women that are, good women, that are quality women, that are, you know, maybe wife material or worthy of entertaining on a serious level. What do you think about that?
for a man without kids, I would say that there would be that would be 20% for a man without kids.
See, I don't know. I don't understand because okay, there's 40 something percent of the Black women. They always like to tout the statistic that there's I think 51% of Black men that are childless, but there's like a 40 something percent um, of Black women that are childless. So I mean, I don't think
Oh,
being having or not having a child, like I'm sure that that's not the only classification for the men that don't have children, and they are looking for a good partner. But you would say for the men who don't have children and they're looking for a woman who does not have children, but also is quote unquote good, which we know good is subjective,
right.
that they are likely to only find that within 20% of the population of Black women
Yes.
in this country. Okay.
Yeah, I would say they would have about 20%. They would have about 20%.
Okay.
But now if you're talking about guys who are divorced, who has baby mamas,
Who
shit
have
like
baggage,
that,
huh? Mm-hmm.
I think that number would be much higher because just because you're a single mother doesn't make you a bad person. You just, however you got there was however you got there. I don't think that
Right.
necessarily makes you a bad person. You're just a
Mm-hmm.
single mother or you're a single
Right.
whatever. But
Right. And we want to make that distinction too. Like, we're not saying single mothers are bad people, but for a lot of the men in this space, that is a standard that they hold. If a woman is a single mother and she's not I believe a divorcee, or if she's not a widow, then, they, for a lot of the men in this space, they won't consider dating her. So that's why we are bringing that up. So basically, if you have a child out of wedlock, you would be eliminated for the dating pool for a lot of the men in this space. That's what
Right.
they're alleging.
Right. 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 Right.
So
Um,
what about the men who, okay, so let's say men who, are good men, but, they have children. Maybe they've been married before or had a long-term relationship or what have you. What percentage of the Black women in the US do you think would be, good women? Like,
60%.
as far as their 60%. So you're
Yeah.
saying 60%, whereas they're saying
60%.
20% of the
No,
women.
I would say 20% of men who, like I said, that don't have kids, that make the money, that has their shit together. That percent of men, if let's say if that's 40%, then they have about 20% of women to choose from. I feel like that they can
Okay.
get the 20% of women to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if the guy has kids, divorced, whatever, um, not together, whatever, then I would honestly say, because a lot of the guys complain about women being single mothers and
Mm-hmm.
the bad attitudes. I think the attitudes are kind of subsiding. I see the birth rate decreasing. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. It has.
so I think that men who have baggage, for lack of better terms,
Mm-hmm.
I think they would have a good 60%. Now, a lot of guys would be like, "Oh, I got
Of course, they're going to disagree with that. And uh, okay, so essentially, this is probably what they're hearing, that you're saying that men who have children or who have baggage can't have the same high standards that a gentleman who has no children, or any serious baggage. He can't have the same standards as guy A.
Um, now, but I'll be real honest with you. Now, if a guy makes a certain amount of money,
Mm,
and the money will probably balance it out for a lot of women. The money will
hmm
balance it out for a lot of women. If a guy makes a lot of money, then he can have a certain standard if he makes a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Okay.
But
Money is the great equalizer. So,
yeah, if he has a lot of money, he can have 20 kids with 20 different women. Some women will still,
unfortunately, but
yeah,
essentially we know, and we're being realistic, that that's the great equalizer for many women. For That's the great equalizer in our society. However, we just finished talking about character. So a man with money, just because he has money and just because he doesn't have any children too, like that is not a testament to his character. I mean, that can be a testament to the fact that he's responsible. I'm sorry. That does not mean that he's a person of good character. Yeah,
right.
you have a good character trait, but that doesn't mean, maybe you're selfish, maybe you're arrogant, maybe you're a prick. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean that you're a great catch. That doesn't mean that you're, a good guy that any woman should be happy to have. I think
You
that,
know what's
mhm,
crazy?
yeah.
So, like, I'll think about professional athletes or like guys with a lot of money, and these men tend to cheat, right? They tend to. Um,
Right, of course.
it's kind of interesting because when you talk about those types of men, it's like I think they get a pass for a lot of shit, and women are supposed to ignore it. You're not supposed to talk about
Hmm
that. That's supposed to be off
hmm
limits. That's and I think that's kind of weird because guys with money can do a lot of things. And like you
hmm
said, it's a great equalizer, but there's no real testament to character. Like there's no like I look at Floyd Mayweather. So many guys think Floyd's a alpha male. And
um
I find that ridiculously funny. Um, I just think that Floyd's a trick that got rich, and it's sad. It's really sad.
mm.
It's really sad.
He's a trick who can
Sad
fight
story.
good. He's skilled, he's
Yeah,
skilled. So
yeah. But even Floyd could get a bad bitch with no kids.
hmm
He can get the so-called perfect woman, and I think that says a lot to a lot of women's character.
you know what? And I'm careful. Like, okay, so I don't think perfection exists within human beings. However, another point that I wanted to make is he can get the perfect dime, meaning, she can be gorgeous from head to toe. That says nothing about her character, just like what we just pointed out, that a man with a lot of money isn't, that's not a testament to his character. Just because a woman is banging, that's not a testament to her character. But yes, he can virtually have just about, any woman. He can have the women that in our society are deemed to be, top tier women, as far as, physicality goes.
Right.
Which is what men look for. They're not concerned about your degrees and, how far you've climbed up the corporate ladder and things like that. Like, they want a good looking woman, as well as other
Do
things
you
too.
think,
But
okay, so with the shift of feminism and stuff like that, do you think that that's actually changing nowadays? Because at one point, men did not care about a woman being educated. Then it became a one, like guys don't mind women paying half the bills. I don't know about this space
mm-hmm,
or how guys feel about women paying half the bills and shit like that. I don't know how
mm-hmm.
y'all feel about that. I'm curious. I'm really curious about that.
Well, you know what I think? I think that I've heard, it's like, I do hear some information in this space that, I research, and I find it to be very intriguing, and as a result I research it, and I'm like, okay, there's, a lot of truth to that point that was made. One of the points that I've often heard in this space is that most, it's a statistic. Statistically speaking, Black men generally don't reach their peak until, I think, they're in their mid to late 30s. So I
Mhm.
think that a lot of the younger men are more of the mindset that they're looking for someone to go half with them, and that's because they're still trying to get established. Whereas I think once a man is established, that's not a primary factor for him.
Yeah. I keep thinking about in this space, if the guy says his woman doesn't have to pay half,
Hmm.
he's going to be considered a simp.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then, and then if a guy says he requires his woman to pay half, he may not be considered like a hoe. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying to me,
I
though?
mean, yeah, people, yeah. I think that there's a lot of shaming that goes on in this space. Like I said, we talked about on the last show, like, people consider it simping if you have if you marry and start a family, they consider it simp. Some people in this space consider it simping. So, I just think
That's
there's a lot of
true.
shaming that goes on. So I don't pay too much mind to a lot of the stuff that's said.
Good thing to do. Good thing to do.
But
So,
yeah, we can
where
go
you
ahead
get
and
what
open it
this
up
morning?
and, yeah, talk to the people and see what they have to say about the topic.
Oh Lord, child.
I know. I don't know if I'm ready because I'm kind of like, oh gosh. Um,
There ain't no such
let me
thing as
brace.
a good woman. And
Let me
Roz's
brace.
ass has
Oh,
got shit.
girl, look, I already know. Let me brace myself. Shoot, I don't know if I'm ready
What?
tonight, but
We're not
we
gonna
gonna
get
go
triggered.
ahead.
We're not gonna get triggered. We're not.
Yeah, listen, I'm
That
not.
was my
I don't have a.
witchcraft for the day.
I
I'm
don't feel
sorry.
like expending a lot of energy tonight, so I'm not gonna get triggered tonight. But
Oh, good.
yeah,
I can get triggered then.
you can get triggered
You're
because
gonna play
I'm
good
like,
cop. I'm gonna play bad cop tonight.
tonight I'm just kind of like, whatever, that's my mood. So whatever is, unless somebody takes some direct shots at me, I don't see myself getting triggered this show. Don't hold me to that, y'all. Let me, like, rewind the play, do the playback, because didn't you say you wasn't getting triggered?
No, I got you today. I'm gonna do it.
See,
I got you today,
I
honey.
I could have sworn I just heard you say you're not gonna get triggered.
Concrete's not
I'm
gonna
gonna.
get triggered.
I said that I'm not gonna get triggered. I'm gonna try not to get
Uh,
triggered. I don't like
I'm
to make.
going.
I
okay,
don't like to speak in absolutes though, but I'm going to try not to. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like arguing. Basically.
okay.
Oh,
Well,
see,
the,
that's concrete.
the,
Not me. I'm triggered. I'm already halfway there, so ready to fight, goddamn it. No, I'm kidding. Oh, speak to that. Hey,
what the
everybody. Hey,
Right, what's going on? What's going on?
babe.
yeah, I was gonna say something, but Curly here, I'm gonna let him speak first because he's the man around these parts.
Yeah, I only have a few minutes. Hey, what's going on, Mama? I only have a few minutes anyway, but about the topic, a good woman is invaluable. Number one, because they are a woman that meshes well with you is so hard to find these days. It's just like I told Danielle, when we first met and started kicking it, like running into her was like finding a needle in a stack of needles. Like, that's just what it is. True enough, the numbers may play in a guy's favor, but when you get out of the physical and get down to the brass tacks, and you really start looking at a person's character and how they're gonna, get on your program and hold you down is the same that you would do the same for them, then the pickings become really slim, really quick.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, it's hard out here. I'm in Atlanta, and everybody knows the stats in Atlanta, and I'm just like, nah, bro, I'm good.
But Curlin, let me ask you a question. If that's
Yeah.
the case, doesn't that mean that I would think that if that's the case, and let's say good women are hard to find, I would think that that would make them all the more valuable. I mean, assuming that they are few and far between, that would make them all the more valuable. Hence the title of the show.
Right. Now, I will say this. Now, there are some general qualities that a lot of dudes expect the majority of women to have that, on the outside looking in can be deemed as good. When you start going deeper, that's when you discover whether even if like your personalities mesh, she can be good for somebody else, but just not for you.
Absolutely, compatibility
yeah.
is a major factor.
Right.
Yeah, you could be a good woman, but are we compatible? Do we mesh well together?
Right. But yeah, I'm just gonna drop that out there. I'm gonna get back to daddy duty. So yeah, y'all have a good show.
Thank you, babe.
All right, baby.
Thanks, Curlin.
Later.
Peace out, Curly.
Peace.
Good point, Curlin.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Being good and being compatible, two very different things. Men can acknowledge a woman is a great person even if she's not as compatible with you. Um, but the value of a good woman is it's hard to even put a number on it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's almost immeasurable nowadays because it is such a drought of good women. Because there's really a lot of women who perceive that they're good, but they're not really good. You know, and I always teach women because I know
I
most
agree with
women don't
that.
know.
I think most
Yeah.
women would, if you ask them if they're a good woman, they're gonna. I don't know a woman that's gonna say no, I'm not. Well, a few may say I ain't ish.
I done met about 3 in my life that could literally just come out and say they're just not good people. You know what I'm saying? but I'm
Right.
42, so you know what I'm saying. It's only been like 3 of them. And I done known people doing all kinds of scandalous and stuff. So you know what I'm saying. Yet they thought they were good too.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So getting a woman to admit that is almost an incredible feat in itself. But when it comes down to being a good person, yeah, it's great when you find it. But most of the women that are good are actually married. That you know what I'm saying. You don't trying to find one that's single. You know what I'm saying, young enough to actually have kids, don't already have kids from previous relationships already. You start trying to do that, you're gonna have. That's where you start running into a problem because you got good women that's in bad position. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You
and I
got
think
women
that's
that
what Danny was saying. For you guys looking for, especially the women that don't have children and they're a good woman, the pickings are going to be very slim for you at that point.
yeah, you just about gotta date somebody around 18 to 22 to even have a high probability of women that ain't already so gone in the head. The world is their perception of the world has changed so much, and then society pushes negative behavior on sisters, and sisters take pride in being negative. So when you amongst a class of people that take pride in being negative, how you really gonna find a bunch of good people in that particular group? It's hard to do because black women do take pride in being strong and independent. That's what they say all the time. But strong and independent, there's nothing about strength or independence that means you're great for a man. There's literally nothing in that that says you're great for a man.
But let me ask you a question, because when we talk about strength within the Black community, especially within being in these spaces, it is always made out to be the worst thing ever for a woman to be strong. And so I'm like, if a woman has gone through a lot of adversity and she's actually made it out on the other side of that adversity, um, does that mean she's a bad person because she had the strength to go through the shit that she went through? And it's kind of interesting. Let me finish my point real quick. It's kind of interesting because, don't get me wrong, I would feel a large percent of the shit that we do get into is of our own accord. And I feel that. But you sometimes go through things in life that you really didn't have any control over sometimes. But even in the situations that we put ourselves in, like let's say you go through a bad marriage and she takes you for half your shit, you put yourself in that situation, but it may not necessarily be your fault.
Well, that's a good point, Danny.
Yeah, so really. when women say that,
that is, I definitely want to dig into that.
Yeah, so
I'm just waiting for her.
They're strong and they've made it through some shit. Is that really a bad thing because a woman made it through some shit, which is why she would say she was strong in the first place? But that's just me.
Okay.
Well, first of all, if she was strong, she wouldn't have to say it. Like if you're strong, it's just a parent. You don't have to go around yelling and shit from the top of the rooftops. Like we would see that.
Just like if a man is an alpha male, he shouldn't have to say it. I agree with that.
Facts. Like if a man is a king, shouldn't have to say he's the king. Everybody just fucking knows he's the king. If you're strong, you don't gotta say you're strong. We just know you're strong. You know, we can tell just by looking at you. But you gotta keep shoving it in our face. Just shows weakness. And
what if she's not saying it and she's because you do have women that may not necessarily say it, but they show it in their actions. Like she doesn't let a man do anything for her. She doesn't know how to submit in a certain way because she may not have been taught that type of submission, and she could be strong that way. Does that make sense?
If you can't submit to a man, that's weak. Because submission for a woman is strength. Being able to follow is strength. Strength is not always in your leadership. Strength is also in your ability to step back and say, "Look, you know what?"
Who is that talking, Pablo?
Archer girl.
Archer.
Wait, hold on. Stop the press.
Cash out.
He's dropping some knowledge. Go ahead, Archer.
Drop your cash up in the chat, Archer. Shit.
Yeah, good stuff, bro. I like it.
I don't like all the praise and shit. I'm just saying that any woman that has to go around saying she's strong, and as a group, if you're a group of women that's always saying you're strong, to me, that's a sign of weakness as a group. Because nobody should have to say that. We would just see it. We would see it in your behavior. We would see it in your attitudes. We would see it. We wouldn't have to hear it. We would just know it. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. Black women do seem to take a sense of pride in their resiliency and being strong and being able to shoulder a lot of pain. And I don't know where that comes from, but that is something that is like almost like deep within the culture. Like that is a common thing that you hear amongst Black women, and it's something that is generally celebrated.
Struggle bonding. You guys call it struggle bonding, right?
Well, I was
trauma bonding.
I think that it
before you guys go to the next one. Can I answer that one?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm waiting on you, Mr. Research.
I'm trying to. So let me put on my polite Roger Report hat. So here's the thing: the whole thing that you said, Sister George, is not what they mean. See, that's the problem.
I didn't hear you all the way. I'm sorry.
I said the thing that you said is not what they mean when they say it. Oh. See, this is the sisterhood dippity do. It's when a lady like yourself has good intentions about what they meant to come across as, but that's not what they meant it as. They meant it as a catch-all phrase for every situation. And when you use it as a catch-all phrase for every situation, here's what I'm going to ask you. What does her child believe of that? Because many a times the daughter and the son don't agree with that strong point of view. They're just saying it. And so why is it if you're strong and you have to go through these things and what have you, isn't your first responsibility the development of the children? Well, if that's the case, in my polite Roger Report way, then why aren't the kids developed from your strongness? Why aren't the kids cheering how great it was?
I think that the strength that they're celebrating is almost really and truly, if you look at it, it's like I survived that. I was able
it's
to
the catchphrase. It's a catchphrase. I'm not denying that does happen in many cases. I'm saying that the premise of what Sister George says is what the sisterhood always does. They take the good intention. You ask these brothers, fantastic, Roger, Archer. Hey, haven't you heard a bunch of dudes said, "Man, I know I ain't shit." But see, it's hard for women to admit that, and that's what Roger Report's thing. And then somebody nice comes along, the 20%. Danny comes along and says, I think she meant blah, blah, blah. No, Danny, she didn't. She just meant it as a catchphrase.
Yeah, it's almost like, we defend them and where it's almost defending their actions and
you know
their
what? That's exactly what I did, though. That's exactly what I did. And he's absolutely correct because as a person that's made it through a lot of shit herself, and it's so crazy. I lost my mom and my sister and my job. I got fired from my job in August of 2017. And I remember going to my dad's house. Now, the crazy thing is, like, I think I went like a whole year without really grieving it. And so everybody was like, oh, you're doing great. Gosh, you're doing really good. And my dad called me strong, and that made me feel bad because I'm like, I'm not really that strong, but you know, you cope. But it was just interesting that I felt bad about that. But I got y'all. Okay, go ahead.
What I was gonna say was that my issue is generally when I hear women talk about they're strong and independent, or they talking about the strength they had to make it through something. I've never heard strength attached to anything positive. I can't remember. Well, I ain't gonna say never.
Well, yeah,
I'm not gonna say never
when they're graduating and things like that.
Nothing.
Will say.
What I'm saying, I never. You can't say never to anything, but I can't. I honestly cannot remember the last time I heard the word strength from a woman's context being attached to anything positive. So when a woman tells me she's strong,
but I think more often than not, it's attached to something negative. Like when a single mom is graduating from college or something like that, they talk about their strength and how they did it and things like that.
Yeah, that sounds stupid to me. That sounds like you're out of order. Because my thing is you should have did that before you had a kid.
I mean, ideally, that's right. But
this is my shout out to everybody on the panel. Shout out to ladies. What's going on with you on Black?
Fantastic.
Not much. My question is this: you two ladies, why is it that Black women, we always hear the strong, we get the celebration of the single mom, but you never get the celebration of the woman who got married and had her kids within a marriage, and that's a wife. You know what I mean?
Oh, something positive.
Because that's not strength.
Hold on, let them answer. Hold on, you got to let them.
Let them answer.
Let them answer.
I'll honestly keep it real. Because as a woman who's gone through some shit by herself, and literally when a woman goes through shit by herself and there's no protection. Now, I'm not saying how she got there is the way or it's not fucked up, but I'm just telling you how it's viewed from a lot of women, and especially Black women. When a woman goes through shit by herself, she pulled herself up, and let's say she was a single mom. She had, let's just say 2 kids by 2 men or some shit like that. She was able to bring herself through college. She was able to secure.
Hold on. See. Now, if you were to say 1, I can rock with you, but the second one, that's a choice. Again,
I have a simplified answer to that. I think it is strictly because of the fact that in our communities, being independent and getting a career, getting your education are things that are pushed, whereas marriage and family is not.
Yeah, but like I said though, this was funny to me. I'll never forget it. Not even using my situation, but my wife, she was, even though we were married, she pretty much had to do the single mom role because, of course, I'm in the military and so on and so forth. And I was deployed for 9 months and so on and so forth. Not only did she take care of the house and the kid and everything else, you know, she had to hold down a lot of different things, and in the process, she was also, you know, getting her degree or whatnot. And you know, it's just weird to me as to where, you know, it's like, oh, if you marry, you can't have a struggle. A woman can't have issues. A woman can't have like those, you know.
That goes back to our culture. Like, I remember from young being told, even if you're in a relationship with a guy, you shouldn't be struggling. You know, it's almost like you have a man. You shouldn't be struggling.
Yeah, but not necessarily. But I struggle supersedes or exceeds just financial. I mean, every you know, people aren't therapists. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own individual issues and problems, especially with women. I think black women is what 1 out of every 6 has been sexually assaulted or molested or something like that. So
I've
again,
heard up to 9.
So
I've heard up to 9 to 10. 9 out of 10.
Okay, so
I've never heard it that high, but I know it's high.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like I think it's either 1 out of 6 to 1 or 1 to 5, 1 to 2. But either way, being that, you know, I mean, those women get married too. Those women, you know, have, you know, their struggles and their issues too. And it's just like, it seems like if and when a woman chooses to get married and go the quote unquote the right way, or, you know, the traditional means of fucking doing it, it's just like everybody turns her back on her, and she doesn't need any praise. She doesn't need any, you know, you're strong. She doesn't need any of those things. And she's not even mentioned in the black community.
Yeah, that is part of the mindset that you're married. Like, you should, you know, it's almost as if you shouldn't have worries and you shouldn't have problems. You're married.
Can I explain? Can I explain?
I don't think that's why it's being done. Go ahead, Mr.
I
said
that's the mindset, but go ahead.
I don't believe that's what it is, but go ahead.
So it does. This doesn't mean that I'm correct. This is just what I've experienced. Okay, so like my mother and I were talking recently, and we all agree I'm a little bit arrogant, okay, and a little bit narcissistic. And then my mother said, "Well, that's because you came off the block doing what you was doing, and you went square, and you still made it happen." And then my mother brought up a point that I had forgotten all about. My mother said, "You got to remember, all 5 of you children are honor roll students." So my mother, the way she did her thing, every last one of her children are honor roll students. I have the lowest GPA, 3.8. So the reason I say all that is because the way marriage is supposed to work is that people are supposed to go out in their 20s and conquer and do things, not look for sex, not look to couple up, they're supposed to go out and do things, kill dragons is what I always say. And then around your 30s, 34, 36, then you start thinking about babies or what have you. If you're able to do that before, it's because of the money. Because once y'all get together, technically how people were used to do it before the 90s came about, Fantastic and his woman would leave and cleave. They would figure it out together. So I think that's where that terminology comes from. It comes from the kids come first, we as parents come second, and if we got issues, we're going to bond together as best friends and make it happen. But in 1999, that all changed.
Interesting. Now I'm gonna say that I think when it comes to how black women are being viewed, if a woman goes ahead and gets married, she's now doing something different than the majority, and the majority wants to be right. Just like when people used to believe the world was flat, the majority wants to be right. So even if you come with the proper information, hey y'all, the world is round, people still gonna look at you funny. You're gonna have a hard time changing the general mass way of thought because they want to believe they're right. Most of us have egos, and most of us do not know how to put our egos aside to actually process information and see if what someone's presenting us is actually correct or not. So when you talk about the black community and you got all these single mothers out here, sure they're gonna praise single motherhood because they want to be in the right. Now everybody who's looked at any study about the black community, has single motherhood been a benefit to the average black person? Absolutely not. It has not been a benefit to the father, it ain't been a benefit to the mother, and it ain't been a benefit to the child. So I don't know why anybody's talking about how great it is, because I ain't seen it benefit anybody. You know what I'm saying? Yes, there's some people who made it through, but making it
it is though.
You know
What I'm
what?
saying, making it through a storm doesn't mean the storm was good for you.
That's a good
Just because you
point.
made it through.
But I just wanted to add some clarity to something because I saw a comment that Silver Fox put in the chat. I don't know if you have a hearing problem or a comprehension problem, but I said growing up, that's what I heard. My family is from the South. They are of the belief that if you have a man, if you're married, if you're in a relationship, you straight. You shouldn't need anything, not any praise, not any support, not any financial support. That is the mindset. Furthermore, I'm not in my 40s.
I'm in my 40s and I've definitely heard that before. Like if you have a man,
Exactly.
honey, 22 years old, had a boyfriend and asked my mama for some money. Oh girl, my mama let me have it.
Yeah, you got a man. What you doing?
Concrete Rose, you got a hold on, Concrete Rose, you got a time machine?
What you talking about?
I could have sworn you was 40. I thought I could have sworn you was
I've
in
never
40,
said
40.
to you that I was 40 because I'm not 40.
Somebody
I've never
put that
told
out
you that.
there.
I'm 40.
No,
What?
they probably say close to 40. I'm not 40.
Okay, all
And I
right.
wouldn't lie and say I'm older than I am.
You know how y'all start aging backwards.
Oh my gosh, get your tail out of here.
What to take it away from her age, I know of plenty of women who feel like if you have a man, the man is supposed to solve all of your problems. Therefore, you shouldn't
Indeed.
need money. You shouldn't
Indeed.
need to talk to me to get your car fixed. You shouldn't need help to get an air conditioner took somewhere. You shouldn't need help move because your man's supposed to be a magician and figure everything out and do it all.
Absolutely.
Well, let's be honest.
At some point, you're not supposed to go to your parents at some point. Like, I don't know.
No, at some point you shouldn't have to. At some point you shouldn't have to. Just depends on the age of the person.
Yeah, but you know what though?
Do you guys know what the word?
I would have some pushback on that though, because again, I think that's one of the biggest issues with the black community is this whole, you grown, get the fuck on.
Yeah, I agree. You should always be able to fall back and support on your, fall if and it's not even like Fantastic said, not necessarily financial support. Like, there could be different types of support that's what family is supposed to be for. Black people be quick to be like, you 18, you on your own.
Get on.
You got a man, you on your own.
No, but this is the thing.
That ain't what I'm saying.
No, this is the thing. Men will, and so I hear a lot of men say, well, you need to keep your family out of our business. You don't tell your mom and daddy what's going on. You don't talk about what's going on.
I agree with that.
Marriage. But if and this is the thing. So if I don't talk about what's going on in my relationships or marriage, and let's just say me and Curlin needed some money, I had to go to my daddy. The first thing my daddy gonna be looking like is what the hell he doing, and I would think that was the right way. Because
this is
that's why age is important.
Yeah,
that's why age is important. At 22 years old. Go ahead, Fantastic. Go ahead.
It depends on the situation. If let's say y'all are trying to purchase a home or something, and you know what I mean, we need an extra $1,000.
But like you said, that's though. I think we messed up. We let black parents off the hook. Black parents have never been in the situation that white parents or Arab parents or Asian parents or Indian parents have been. They never been. That? Exactly. Well, I made my own. I did the best I could. The struggle story. I worked 4 or 5 jobs and whatever, and I barely made it, and all this other shit. While on the other hand, like you said, all these other demographics, they have people that are there for them. They set up trust.
Yeah, but we don't have the wealth that these other groups have. We don't have generational. Yeah, we definitely generational wealth that's passed down.
Not even generational wealth. That's not accurate either. It's not generational wealth because again, most of these immigrants that come here are not well off like that. They become well off by working and developing themselves once they're here. They don't
communal living is a communal living.
They support one another. They support one another in the community. They'll all live in one house and one room.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Sacrifice.
And what's so funny is we're only maybe 2 generations removed from that because I think we can all remember that uncle that never left the house or that never moved out to his grandma's house. So he moved out. He was all of my grandma, I think all of my uncles were gone probably like in their mid-20s, you know what I mean? And only one of them really went to college, but the other ones, they worked and so on and so forth. And, they didn't really leave out and move on to their own. So they was like in their mid-20s. So, this whole thing about where like I say, you grown, get the hell on thing, man. You know, I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot, and this is what's really.
I agree.
You know, having your kids go out here and make a bad decision because you know if you quote unquote shack up, as the old folks would say, with a girl, and y'all two got to live together in order to be able to to pay the rent. In your 20s, you don't make enough money to be able to pay all the bills.
And they're not looking at the big picture. If everybody was pooling their resources together, it could help everybody. If they're saying, okay, well, come home for a few years, and while they're there, they're chipping in on the mortgage, like it could help everybody. And that's I agree with you. We do shoot ourselves in the foot in that respect.
Well, Roger, I'm gonna go after you and Pablo, but I got something I want to say. Go ahead.
So check this out. I'm gonna throw the ladies a bone on this one. In this space, I see a lot of men who will say things like, "You ladies only want a jawline nigga," but then they'll turn right around and say, "Oh, you a gold digger. You only want him for his money or his success or his title." So you can't really have it both ways. You can't have a woman that wants you like your mama. I mean, your woman ain't supposed to look at you and love you like your mama loved you. Your woman is your woman. She needs different things from you. And so I see a lot of that childish shit that goes on in here with men in this space. They don't want you to want a man for his swag and his looks, but then they don't want you to want him for his success and his money. So you gotta pick a side. You can't fucking try to So I sympathize with y'all on that.
Well, I'm gonna say to stuff like. Go ahead, Danielle. I'm sorry.
I think that men actually love way harder than women when men actually fall in love.
Ooh, me too. I agree.
So when a man wants to be loved, I don't think any man wants to be used. And
they fall harder too, though. They fall harder, but when they're hurt, they take it harder too. So I think that's why they're more hesitant to fall.
But that's why men don't, because it's always seen as a sign of weakness. And like you said, it's unfortunately for a man, you always gambling with the shit. And most when a man, especially when a man commits to I don't think women even understand how serious it is for a man to commit to you on some monogamous shit. Especially if, he has options. If he's successful,
we don't.
No, y'all don't. Y'all don't know. You say you do, but you have no idea. Again,
I said we don't.
Oh, okay, my bad.
So they just want to argue to argue, Concrete.
No, my bad.
You know how they do.
Concrete Rose usually give me some pushback, so I was surprised about her agreeing.
I'm agreeable.
My thing is, I think we're taking, the problem with that I always see with the millennial crowd is that they take words out of context and they remix words, and then now words get lost in translation. Number one, husband. According to Aramaic and according to archaic, husband means manager. The whole purpose of these marriages was supposed to get a dowry. So shout out to Fantastic. That's a great point about parents. Because if I take this daughter off your hands, either I'm giving you 20 cows or I'm getting 20 cows. Something needs to happen. And I don't need to be taking on nobody that ain't a benefit to the property I already own. That ain't a benefit to the corn I'm already growing. And that's really where the problem is. You got a lot of us, and this is the other side that Fantastic didn't say. You got a lot of us who are connecting as a team without vetting whether this is a good team member. I ask people about their medical on the 10th date.
So what ways, Mr. Research, could a woman benefit you in that way? Because you hear a lot of men in this space say they don't care about a woman's degrees and, they don't care about, her accolades and where, how far she's climbed up the ladder.
Like I said to Sister George and Pablo, respectfully, even though they think I'm shaming them when I'm saying it, a lot of these dudes ain't men. They just older boys. When you get up here, let's keep that real. When you get up here and you start tackling other nationalities for resources, positions, and companies, that's when you reach manhood. Just because somebody 28, 38 don't mean nothing. You got people living in a dorm right now, 40, 44 years old in school. I mean, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? But but they the biggest thing this side or whatever. Well, until they go to the real world. So let me just rattle off these other things real quick because I was quiet for a second. So take pride. Take pride. I think Roger was talking about taking pride in being negative. That's really what the problem is here. You got people happy to talk about black men are trash when black men been helping you ever since the days of 1886 with Mr. LaForte, who started the first black female slavery runaway coalition, bought 6 houses just to help black females run away. But then you'll say black dudes ain't doing nothing as if the mayonnaise man been doing it all this time. What it comes down to is this: these mayonnaise feminism chicks went saw that these black women like Sister George, like C. Rose, that these black men was pulling them up. Pullman Union is a great example. When Danny was working in the washroom, some black man with a broom company said, "Come on, sister, you don't have to do that. Come work in my factory." It wasn't them, but now the granddaughters of those women done took these Ronald Reagan laws and they said, you know what? I'm gonna weaponize against Fantastic. No fault divorce. See, before Fantastic wife would have had to negotiate, Fantastic would have negotiated, and then she would have said, you know what, it really ain't worth it. It costs so much. Or she would have said, you know what, Fantastic, I can't even marry you because to divorce you costs so much. But when Ronald Reagan said, hey, if you a woman, you just automatically get it, no fault, then everything has gone to crap. That's my point. Is that we're not looking at marriage for what it used to be. We done remixed it so many times. It's like chopped down cocaine. It ain't even potent no more.
Hey,
Interesting analogy.
can I add on to what he said real quick, and then I'll throw it to whoever's next.
Jump next.
I'll be trying to go next. Go ahead.
Well, just real quick. He brought up something that's real crucial too. Men are all about a deal. Men are more willing to deal, negotiate, and be reasonable. Women are they're emotional, whether they're in the wrong or whether they've been wrong. Or whatever it is, women just want to take the extreme and they want to fucking make everything burn. When a man is just like, hey man, you going about your life, you have your way, so on and so forth. And we've seen this, personally, and even in like the big realm as far as like celebrity and other things like this. It's just like women never ever can seem to understand the bigger picture and the long term in the whole scorched earth mentality and how it just hurts everybody in the long run.
Yeah. Let me give me. I want the brothers, Mr. Fantastic.
Roger.
You've been in the military, right?
Oh.
Still.
Well, Archer's going. I'm gonna let him go.
Yeah, you've been in the military.
I can't hear him. Okay.
I want to talk about the original topic, which is what is a good woman? What is the value of a good woman? And you brothers can correct me if I'm wrong. In my personal opinion, the value of a good woman is equal to the value of a soldier having a logistics team behind him. You cannot fight a war without logistics getting you the supplies, the food you need. An army without good logistics is doomed to fail. Once you cut off an army's resources, once you cut off their logistics from getting to the front lines, you basically defeated that army over time. You can basically just hold out and you will defeat them over time. Now, there are special cases where there are types of soldiers that can be dropped into the middle of a battlefield, like, I don't know, Green Beret or Roger, a Ranger, that don't have any logistics and just get their job done. But that's not every goddamn soldier. And black women are expecting black men to be, all of us to be Army goddamn Rangers, which it's impossible for you have a whole army full of Rangers. And that's where it comes down to what makes a good woman and why many black women are not good wives and are not good women, because they don't understand their role as the support team and the logistic team of the army. They want to keep asking, why are we losing? Why are black men behind? Why black men don't have this? Well, black men are the only group that don't have the logistics, the support of their women.
And that's an unfair question if when we're in position.
Keep saying, we will come to you once you've already won the war.
This is
that's
where
an
white
unfair
women
question because when we're in position to help and aid us to move towards the front line, a lot of times we pass up. Black women
who
are in position to help black men.
How?
if they're in hiring positions, if they're in corporate America.
Hiring?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Oh,
No,
Concrete, you fucking up. You go ahead. Go
Concrete,
ahead.
So
let me
you've
say what I was
never
gonna say before
heard
you.
of
You
black
done
women
fucked up.
in
Concrete.
positions
Black
to
women,
hire, and they
no,
refuse to hire black males or strong black
You
women.
done fucked
they
up,
fire
Concrete.
us. They fire
That's the
us and
point that
block
I'm
us more
making.
than
You guys are saying the same thing. That's what I just said. I said if we're in a position to help and we don't, then we can't make an argument against it. That's what I was saying.
Don't.
Okay, now what I wanted to say, I want to get a few things
Y'all
out
be
there.
wanting to be contradictory. Like you guys want to be
No, not at all.
contrarian.
They just didn't hear you, Concrete.
We
That's
didn't hear
all.
don't.
I
I didn't hear don't.
Yeah, they just didn't hear you. All right, but let me say this. First of all, because you mentioned it earlier, when it comes to simp is just a guy that protects women from accountability. I know it's a new term to the internet. We've been using it in Chicago since I was a child. The term didn't change, and you cannot use a term for every damn thing. If words don't have a meaning, they have no point. There is no communication without a meaning to a word. So a simp is simply a man that protects women from accountability. It's not all this other mess. It's not getting married. It's not all everything people try to make it out to be. When I was saying earlier about when it comes to age, like just like Sister George used an example of her being 22 years old and needing some help, and then they like, well, you got a man, he's supposed to have it handled. At 22 years old, it depends on the level of the problem. This guy's been an adult for going on 4 years. He became an adult at 18. He's only been an adult for 3 years plus because he's only 22.
Very good point.
But no, it's 4 years since he's 22. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, it depends on the size of the problem. Now, when it comes to the parents being connected, I'm not saying parents got to do everything for their children. My belief system and the way my parents taught me, which I totally agree with, a parent's job is to teach you not to need them. You know what I'm saying? If you become an adult and you still need your parent, that's a good way to show that your parent has failed because they didn't get the job done.
That's interesting.
Now,
I disagree with that.
You can, and that's fine, but that's my belief system. My father and my mother was supposed to show me enough. Well, if they died tomorrow, I don't got to worry about it like that. I might be sad they gone, but my life don't stop because they gone.
Yeah.
And when it comes to things that we need, yes, as a parent, I can go to my parent and get something, but I understand the levels of money. I understand what has happened in the past. I don't expect my parents to pay it for me. But if I can go to them and get a loan so I can avoid going to a bank and getting taxed on that loan, then yeah, that's doing something better for me. You know what I'm saying? Me staying at home, paying my parents' mortgage.
We should at least try to aid our children through their college journey or college. If they're going to get a trade, we should at least offer additional support until they complete their programming and give them time to get established, as opposed to when they're 18, they should never have to come back and need support. If my daughters are college age, they're still my dependents. They're still, they still may require some support.
Yeah, that's one thing for females, but for males, that's kind of like for example,
differently about my son. I doubt it, but I get what you're saying.
For example, Fantastic just did a video talking about with some military folks, and I was on there for a hot second talking about going to the military and all the benefits that can give to you. What your parents are supposed to do is give you options. It's the money, and I would say as far as the money goes, have life insurance. Outside of that, if they give you options and give you the ability to take care of yourself, and this is assuming you have two parents, which we know how fucked up the household in the Black community is because everybody's doing shit like as in, and we know what the source of that is. So as far as going to the original topic, the value of a quote unquote good woman, which have we even established like what percentage of like women in America in general are good women? Can anybody give me a shotgun number?
Our focus is primarily on Black women, but we did talk about it vaguely in our opening, but we haven't talked about it on the panel. I think that's a good question.
Okay, so we talk about 50%, 20%, 10%, 5%. What was
Danny
the number
said what she said, 20% for men who don't have children and who are looking to, a partner with a woman who also does not have children, and 60% for others. I would say, just the general ballpark number, I would say 35 to 40%. Maybe 35% of the women.
So have we qualified what is a good woman?
No, I mean that's so
Well,
subjective, but no.
I mean, these are important. Like for instance, I'll give you an example. I'll start with black men. I'll start with black men for a second, just so you think I ain't being an asshole. Like 50, only 20% of black men make $50,000 or more. Now we're not even getting into
that's
looks. We
not
ain't getting into
necessarily
height.
a qualifier. Like, okay, because you make 48,000.
Well, wouldn't you qualify a good man as being able to protect and provide?
Yeah, absolutely. But it
Okay,
depends
so
upon
what number would you give me is the bottom?
Versus 40,000 and you live in Mississippi.
So what bottom? So what? Because a majority of black men that make 50,000 or more don't live in the South. They live in the higher cost of living areas.
Well, most black people live in the South, though. Most
But
black people live in the South.
What I was going to say, Edward, is that in this space, and I'm talking about Black YouTube, the manosphere, black women who have kids and are single mothers, which we do have a lot of single mothers, are not seen as good women. And so I would say about 20% of the total population of black women, 20%, like let's say there's 20% without kids, and are the right size and that are pretty, is about 20%. And I said that now that's 20% that black men who don't have kids, who make the money, those 20%, I feel like they would have that to choose from. Now, if you're talking about men with kids and who have baggage, etc., I would say those men actually have a greater number to pick from, because
hold on now. Wait.
But I don't feel like that. See, because I feel like you being a good person is like you having a child does not mean that you're not a good person. So for me, that's not.
You could be a good person and a bad employee.
Hold on, let's just address this baggage though. I mean, the men got baggage if they got kids, but the women ain't got baggage.
Yeah, she included. She was saying they do have baggage.
Well, here's the thing. Number one, men with kids are not the same thing as women with kids, because men are not expected to be taken care of. A man. Plus, when you look at the court, look,
part of that man's income is going to be reduced because he has children. I will
also add, if a man has custody of his kids, that's a completely different situation as a man that doesn't have custody of his kids.
I would say it's fair. It's a fair equation.
Yeah, that is a very small percentage. So, and also let's stop acting like black women actually see that difference. Black women do not think the same way about men with kids as black men do.
The question. Okay, see, it's becoming convoluted. Danny,
because and also the reason why I went the reason why the frame.
Go ahead, Concrete.
I was saying you weren't even done answering the question. He asked the question, and then we started dialoguing about it. But you didn't finish your response to the question, Danielle.
No, because Edward got all the answers, honey. He's the Mr. Cleo. I'm Mr.
Cleo.
Okay, yeah.
Call me up for your free reading. You know he got it. Shit. Go ahead, Ed.
How you gonna ask a question and then we?
I didn't know she was finished. But yeah.
Go ahead, man.
But anyways, go ahead, Edward. Finish your point, because I guess she done.
Well, I will say this. The majority, if you look at what women define as a good man, sexual marketplace value is about 85% of that pie chart in the black community. As far as black men, what black men looks, I would say is probably 40%. And then I would say cooperation is probably a big qualifier, and that's the grade where you all usually let me tell you something. You cannot be a good. I don't care how. Let's take the kids off the table, not even because that wouldn't even be fair. If you are not a cooperative woman, you are a bad. Let's say look at it like employees. Let's look at business partners. You are a bad business partner. And I'm gonna say it I'll say it like this. I don't give a damn about your why, your past, what you survived, relationship. You got kids. That this just who you are. That this you in America. Your cooperative level is pretty much the majority thing I look at to start with. And if that's bad, everything else goes down.
That's fair,
If you're
Edward,
not,
but let me say this really quick. One thing that, like, somebody, I said it's subjective, and somebody I think was giving pushback regarding that. One thing that I want to point out, if we're asking the question, just a general consensus of the people on the panel, what makes a good woman, what makes a good man? Most of the men are probably not going to say the man being able to be monogamous, him being able to be with just one woman. And most women would consider, when they say what's a good man, they're going to say a monogamous man, a man who's going to be able to be committed.
Well, you know what?
Why?
I mean, and hold on, I ain't
for whatever reason. That's
what
they're going to
We
list.
don't like to be cheated on.
Do you even not even have a reason?
Wait. That's a
Danielle said because we don't like to be cheated on.
But hold on,
I'm
this is
about.
So ego.
But this is a question
Go
though.
ahead. Fantastic.
This is a question that I think that we really need to approach as Black people. Is monogamy realistic anymore at this point?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It is never, no,
you think
monogamy
that
has never been realistic. It is never. Monogamy is
so
not even a part of human nature.
Men shouldn't be expected to have self-control.
Well, no. Well, again, I think
Well, that's a different thing.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But again, if we have these and you guys want to always hinge this on the man, which we know there are plenty of Black women out here that are being friendly.
True. I was just giving one example of how we would differentiate when we describe what's
yeah, but again, if Black people were more understanding of just biology and the thing, and again, yeah, it's something to be able to overcome your biology and that testosterone and the willingness in order to deal with more than one female, by all means. But I mean, if a man's able to provide, like Ed says, and you're one of those guys that is above that 50K mark, and you're able to treat your wife, the woman or whoever you're the main girl or whoever as one thing, and he's able to maintain frivolous relationships, sexual relationships on the side. Why can't females ever understand that for men, sex does not mean the same thing as it means to women? A man can.
I'm not even going.
Well, I think because a lot of women feel like men validate the women that they stick their penises in. So when a man validates a woman in a certain way, I think we don't place a high value on sex, period. And
I think we live in a westernized culture. Like, that is part of the culture. Like, the expectation of monogamy is part of the Western culture. If we've been indoctrinated in every other way, how
it's American culture, not Western.
But black women harp on the cheating more than any other race compared to everything else.
Why would you think other people don't?
Comparatively, because Danielle, well, you said it straight up that white women value security versus. I mean, yeah, they care about the cheating thing, but I'm talking about on the pie chart.
They value security over looks and swag and shit. They absolutely value security over that. But I can say that a lot of women, and I'll say from all cultures, all races, will stay with a man at least once. Like, if the man cheats once, most women will stay after.
The bigger issue is humiliation.
Or they choose dudes that are less likely to cheat because those dudes are considered boring ass niggas or soy boys as with the white folks.
White men cheat, but they'll cheat with like a back page or a prostitute or something. They don't have whole relation like love affairs like somebody.
Okay, so let me say it from I'll say it from this vector. Because I get what Fantastic is saying, but I'm gonna say it this way: when you this is a difference between what Black women say and what Black women do. The reality of the situation is, I promise you, 9 out of 10 Black women, 9 out of 10. If I say you can have a boring nigga that will provide everything you need and not cheat, I will even give you give me the recipe as far as looks. And you want 5 things, I'll even guarantee you get 3 of the 5. But he's a boring ass nigga that does what the fuck he does, blue collar type, versus a dude that is a fuck nigga. And I'm telling you, it's in the disclaimer, fuck nigga included, income probably not included, but the sex is good. 9 out of 10 women, if they can't see what it is, they're gonna and I say A is the first thing and B is the second thing. they will say, if you ask them, they will choose B. But the reality is what they will choose generally is A. And you can look at the community overall and see how much man sharing and how the kids are appropriated and see that to be true. So when I say the ego thing, a lot of y'all, because I was just talking, BGS was talking about this damn video with all these old chicks, Vivica Fox and all them. It's ego. And even Irene Yvette said this. She even said this, and this is the biggest thing I agree with her on. She said black women got to be honest about acting like they care about monogamy, whereby they're living in unsanctioned polygamous relationships. Because the man sharing is obvious that you do it. It's just y'all don't want the shit, the humiliation. And at the end of the day, this idea, and I'll say this idea that the niggas y'all getting with, y'all know ain't fucking, and it's not obvious they on some alpha male strategy shit. The shit is so transparent. It's like taking your purse and taking the money, and then you say, did you just take the money out of my purse? He say, no, but you just saw him do it. So that's some shit that black women got to be honest about. Just like how black men know if we get in the 8, 9, or 10, we know we gonna have to constantly fight for that motherfucker. We not stupid.
It ain't gonna be as much of an issue if the public don't know he don't out there doing what he doing. But, it is humiliating.
All right, is it possible OG can step in real quick?
Go ahead, Jack Spade.
All right, what's up, everybody? So the topic is the value of a good woman. So here's two folds. Here's two folds. A good woman respects her duties and expectations, be it womanhood, motherhood, wifehood, because a relationship, be it marriage, live-in, or just a monogamous girlfriend-boyfriend situation, has a lot of dynamics that must be navigated for the betterment of all parties. That's him, her, and if there's children involved. But what we tend to see and hear in the real world and on social media is that, unfortunately, this is women of many different ethnicities. They don't respect the duties and expectations and are looking for something different. They can't achieve manhood or fatherhood or husbandhood, and they are stuck. Well, let's take that back. They can't achieve the so-called benefits of manhood, fatherhood, and husbandhood, and they're stuck in limbo. So that's the first part. Second part, strength. Strength for women means overcoming the last struggles. You can't progress and remain forward living in survival mode because progress is dependent on being proactive and staying proactive. So if all of that is able to overcome, a woman can become a good woman, but she just has to be able to get out of that comfort zone of being in survival mode. So y'all can go at it. I'm done. Folks, I will be on Battlefield 4 in about 15 minutes.
Jack.
Come on down. Everybody have a good week.
Okay. Have a good one.
I don't know what the hell Battle Troop sweater name.
Hold on. Who is that? Perfect Blackness.
Perfect Blackness. Perfect Blackness been waiting. Yeah. Perfect Blackness.
Okay, to answer the question, or to at least elaborate on the statement of the subject of the topic here. What makes a good woman? A good woman is priceless. There is no price that you can put on a good woman. But sadly, in the Western Hemisphere, and in particular in the Black community, a good woman is not even made anymore. It might as well be a unicorn. Okay, and it just doesn't exist. And when you start getting into these conversations, we start getting into the conversation about what they were saying about the strong and independent. Let me tell you this: I don't mean to really, kick the leg from the chair or whatnot, or turn the table over. But I can tell you, strong and independent Black women have zero value for any man that's successful. Zero, none, absolutely none. Okay, and at least not for me. And
in fact, it's dead.
Any successful man that I've ever come across in my life, they have no value for a woman that's strong and independent. What the fuck you need a strong and independent woman for? If you want to be independent, be by yourself.
You know what?
At least she can hold stuff down if something happens.
No, she can't.
That's black female. That's y'all logic when y'all say that.
I honestly think he's being disingenuous.
Listen, you don't want your woman to be able to hold stuff down.
So in the United States, you have the president.
Hold on, Edward. I want to know, how am I being disingenuous?
I'll say you're being disingenuous
because I can't hear her.
Okay. I feel like you're being disingenuous because it's like you're saying that every man that's coming to success, they don't have personality flaws, or every man that comes. Let me finish my point. I think you're saying that a man doesn't want a stronger, independent woman, but I've seen guys with money who's had tyrants for wives, and the wives may come across as one thing to the public. It may be something different in private, but you can't classify every man and say, okay, and I'll say within this space is probably a thing, or a talking point that everybody uses, because a woman may be strong and independent at handling business, but she might be very, very submissive on the other side of things. But it's really where a couple men is at.
Good point. I think they don't think the two can coexist.
Oh my God.
Can I come back on that?
They
you guys disagree that the two can coexist? A woman can be strong and independent, yet submissive and docile.
Not in the black community, no.
Yeah, no. Not for black women.
Jewish. Hold on. Okay, time out. Jewish women are the closest. I got you for 2 seconds. I promise. Jewish women are the closest approximation of what you're talking about, and they know their fucking lane. So when it comes to their
black woman can't run it in the boardroom, but come home and submit to her man.
You're talking about like 0.0002%. You're basically talking about a corporate thug. But go ahead, man. Perfect Blackness. I know you want to talk.
My bad. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna say this again. For a successful man, a strong and independent woman really has no value at all. Period. Zero. Now she can fancy herself as
ask Robert Smith how that worked out.
But she really has no value to him. She can do a strong, quote unquote, strong and independent woman for a man that already got his shit together. What the hell do you need with a woman that's independent in his house? You know what they call that? They call it a goddamn virus. In your own.
What football team has ever been good when you fighting for the quarterback seat?
Everybody's doing their own goddamn thing.
Yeah,
and especially, I'm gonna tell you something. Especially type A personality. That word got thrown out. Type A personalities. I admit, I'm a type A personality guy. I have no use for a strong and independent woman.
Are you?
Oh, now and Concrete and Danielle, I'll throw you an Instagram page that I personally hate, and I hate this nigga, to be honest with you. But this is a page you all would like because it feeds into the narrative that Concrete you just said. No, it ain't no ignorant shit. It ain't no ignorant shit. It's called Alpha Male Couples. I fucking hate this channel because this channel actually feeds. No, not Alpha Male Couples. It's called Alpha Couples. And it basically says that you could be an alpha woman and alpha male, and you all could combine their power. It's a black channel. And this nigga, I can't stand this nigga. But go ahead, Fantastic.
This is an unpopular opinion.
No such thing as alpha woman.
I can't hear him.
Those type of relationships don't work.
No, I'm saying no such thing as alpha woman.
You can't have
there are alpha females. Alpha females exist in the wild, and you like when even in the wolf pack, you have the alpha female, and the same thing in the lion. In the lions, you have alpha in animal packs, so in animal communities, you have the alpha female. But the thing,
but there's no alpha women.
An alpha female is what BGS would call a natural 92. Go look at the Insecure video he just did and compare that difference. That's a close approximation to that. And look at the difference between a natural 92 and a Molly, which is a 92 climber. There's a difference. But most black women can't quantify. No, I get it. Like, you might as well not even explain it, because see, the problem is to talk to a black woman what an alpha female would be for a black man. They're always going to look at it from a masculine side anyway. They're not looking at it from an actual puzzle.
So you guys think that a woman can be an alpha?
No, you wouldn't call it that, because you all only understand alpha from a masculine sense. Like, and I can prove it. But go ahead.
Yeah, a woman can be alpha, but like Perfect Blackness is saying, if you're gonna be alpha, you're gonna be by your goddamn self. You're gonna be fuckable, but you're not gonna be keepable. No man wants to have a homosexual. No man wants to deal with.
But that's not an alpha female. That's not an alpha female. Wait a minute. That's a masculine shit.
Let me finish.
My bad.
Fantastic finisher.
Let me finish. This is what I'm trying to tell you. No man wants to deal with a woman that's going to challenge him. That's going to, oh, I make this much. I do this, and I bring this to the table. No, that's irrelevant. I don't give a damn. That's not your place. I don't give a fuck if you was making $1 million and I was making fucking, $20,000 a year, or I'm a fucking house dad. I'm the fucking man, point blank, period. And as the fucking man, you are not supposed to be trying to emasculate me and trying to put yourself above me. The black woman, that's her understanding of her position in a relationship when you allow her to take that alpha role on.
Yes, that's my point. That's why I don't think it can exist.
And even those tiger moms in Asian community, the culture checks that shit. They're tiger moms when it comes to their children. They are not that shit when it comes to the men.
When I think about an alpha leads the pack. Like, no real man is going to allow a woman to lead him. So I feel like a woman can't truly be an alpha because the man that you're dealing with
but you also have these
female.
But what you'll do is you'll have these narratives about, I'm a corporate businesswoman holding everything down, alpha female, but I know how to take that off when I'm with my man. In theory, maybe that'll make sense, but in practice, it never turns out that way. And here's the thing: look at the women. I hate to use media, but look at the females. Like, you got women that are drop dead gorgeous, beautiful, that are by themselves. And you ain't even seen them project some serious alpha shit, but you can tell that folks call these chicks crazy. And what happens is, this is how dudes deal with it. A dude like Perfect Blackness might be able to work with a female that's an alpha female on some business shit, because they may have a network and some shit like that. But when it comes to being his woman, that shit wouldn't be entertaining. And dudes can separate that shit. And if the chick look good, he might even fuck her. But he'll never keep her. And this is what women don't understand. They don't understand their sexual marketplace value versus their relationship and commitment value. Because what Fantax has been trying to say, like, I'll give you a perfect example. I could take, even with black men, I could get a card of 52 cards and put 52 females on there. And I could throw them in the air. And I say, dude, pick up the ugly, like, be honest, pick up the ugliest bitch you'll fuck. And then most niggas will pick the shit up, and it'll be some fucking 4-3 if he's drunk. And I'll be like, I'll shame this nigga. Then I'll pick the cards up again and be like, nigga, you ain't shit. And I'll throw him up again. Pick the ugliest chick that you'll actually commit to let's say a 5-year contract with in marriage. That's gonna be a completely different card, no matter which. Even if I'm talking to a simp, it'll be a completely different card, because men, even black men, instantly think of something different when you're talking about commitment. The problem is the laws and how women be finessing dudes and the kids and talk about what about the baby usually interrupts that situation. So now it's about being a man and being responsibility. Now, if you a nigga like Ramil, well, he'll say fuck you and fuck that kid. If you try to finesse him, then you go back to that. Then you go back to that regular, like, absolute. This is why you find these women are giving up on marriage and they just want to have a kid, because marriage is too high of a bar to climb. They know they can't be that.
Those studies, and that I think, who was it? Oh, Paris Milan posted something about that. A woman who basically, I don't know, she found herself single, but she really just wanted the child anyways. And I've seen a lot of women commenting that, they don't necessarily want marriage, but they want to be moms.
That's because they don't want, they know they can't be the women that they need to be for, like, a dude like what Perfect Blackness is saying. And what
selfish.
Exactly.
You would willingly, intentionally.
They just out loud with it. That's been going on. That's 15 years too late.
What the fuck? Women
hold on. And let me tell you how stupid dudes were. This is what, like, millennials had to learn. The older school. This is why I wanted to say with Pablo. Because what he was talking about, and I get where he's coming from, but see, that's how you wind up being a fucking stepfather. And when we start to realize, like, oh, they ain't getting no respect. Let me tell you something. If I was going to be on some Derek Jackson shit, and Derek Jackson wanted to really tell black women some stuff that be in their best interest, I'd be like, look, y'all need to come up with a stepfather day. Y'all need to gaslight these stepfathers as much as y'all can to build that market. Y'all need to think of it like insurance. Yeah, because think about it. How the fuck you gonna have? How the fuck you gonna let your kid? How you gonna let your kid tell a man this basically, you know, you with him, so pretty much he still got the looks that you want, at least are willing to settle for in your current position, and you willing to tell that kid openly to tell him you ain't my daddy. It's like, look, if he say some shit you don't like, even on the real talk, even if you're gonna be bullshit with it, be like, look, if he say some shit you don't like, come to me and I'll talk to him, but don't tell him you ain't my daddy. We gonna call him by his name, that way he knows he ain't your daddy.
No, you can't
respect.
feign respect with children.
But
putting your foot down and telling them you're gonna
yes, they
respect
can.
this man.
Yes,
He's in here
yes.
paying the bills.
Black women can make.
I'm saying, soon as the man does something that the child doesn't like, it's gonna come out that they don't really respect them. They can.
Well, black women do that with the baby's father all the time. They'll make the kids play both. So they know. I know they can. But what? Hold on. But all I'm saying is, even if you was gonna do it on some, I want to win no matter what. It's how openly defiant. You said it concrete with the cheating thing. You said it. Okay, I don't want cheating, but it's better if I'm not humiliated. But I don't want that at all. But humiliating me is it's gonna be consequences, right? You did say that, and I get that. But how do you think men feel when men are doing the stepdaddy game and it's you ain't my daddy? Father's Day is seen as some holiday you don't acknowledge.
Like it should be written like the mother should be from day one setting the stage and ensuring that child respects that man. They deserve real respect, not even like fake it till you make it. And
but the mother doesn't even respect that man.
They are the person that's
then wonder why niggas ain't playing.
For the children.
Then wonder why niggas on some Ramil shit.
Wait, the fact that he is with her, that mother has a low level of disrespect for that man inside of her psyche. The fact that he even got with her in the situation she's in, she doesn't respect that. So how's she gonna
Zion Williams' father's a perfect example.
How's she gonna get
what did Zion do?
Williams, man.
It's gonna come out subconsciously.
Right. Who is that?
Zion Williams is the dude on the New Orleans Pelicans, basically the next LeBron James, right? I think we talked about him when I was talking about he shouldn't have gave that money to them employees. But basically, he's 18 years old.
Him.
No. The stepfather he has was in college basketball really good.
Yeah.
Or was he? Yeah. And he raised him. This is a college basketball dude. Raised him, got him. Obviously, genetics is genetics, but he helped. He's way more responsible for his for Zion getting to where he was than his mama. It ain't even comparable. All his mama did.
He thanked his mama on draft night. He didn't mention
which I get. Exactly. That's the issue.
Stepdad not one time.
His go-to was mama, which is fine. Thank her first. I get it. But the dude is, and here's the thing. He's there. He's looking goofy as hell in the fucking background. Like he's just a nigga. And that's not the first time that happens. I could show you the same thing in reverse. When them football boys, like the two brothers, that they went to a school that they mama didn't want to go to.
Jugger talk. Let me get in here, brother. We know.
Right.
We got you.
Yeah, go.
Jugger talk.
Listen, man. I think it comes back to the point, the topic of the thing. Are there good women?
What? Fantastic. I'm sorry. This is kind of crazy because I just knew that we were going to get in here and I was going to ask you guys, had you ever had a good woman before? And so if you never
got way off track.
Sure,
I have. Yeah, I absolutely have.
What did you do?
And you know how I know they're good women? Because there's quite a few women I've dated that are married and still married to this day. Two black men.
Let Fantastic go first, since he was about to speak before.
Yeah,
put me on the spot. That's a question. I got to answer the question.
I mean, you got a whole wife, so you better say yes.
Of course, man. Of course. I got to say yes, right? But no, real shit. No, my wife's great, man. We got married young. She was way younger than me. I think she was 20 when we got married. So I watched her grow as a woman. A lot of things and this way I niggas like you not gonna raise a woman or no shit like you gotta teach a woman. As a man, you're supposed to be the teacher, period. You're supposed to be the leader. You're supposed to be, that for your woman. Your woman is gonna be a lot of things your woman don't know. I mean, men are.
That's true. Good point.
You know what I mean? And I'm good, Sister George. You good. But as a man, even just knowing you and your relationship with your woman, you have to teach your woman what you like, whether it's from, the food to what y'all do on some.
Listen, women look for a man they can learn from. Like if you think that you're not supposed to teach a woman something wrong.
Well, again, man, this red pill rage shit get out of hand, man.
When they in that mode. Go ahead.
I know these niggas, man. I keep telling them, niggas claim, like y'all just said, man, only like 20% of the women are out here that's slim and fit and no baby, and she ain't no bitch, and so on and so forth. That's the smallest fucking percentage. It's no way, and the statistics say that y'all niggas not fucking them 10% of women. Statistics tell you that. So I know that y'all niggas out here fucking the baby mamas, the big girls, y'all claim like, and all this shit, and so on and so forth. All this shit, man. So I know these niggas. These niggas don't fool me. But anyway, yeah, man. It's just real hard to come by, and relationships take time. And I think
that's why she had to be 20. Fantastic.
Go ahead,
you're right. Ever, why you bullshitting? That's a big part of it. I think, and she's over time has told me, because we had our issues. Marriage isn't this fucking just perfect, well-oiled machine. You're gonna have, arguments and fallouts here and there, over a period of time in any long-term relationship. And she, came back later on in time and told me, well, okay, I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now. You know what I'm saying? I may not have understood, this, and it's been times where me as the leader, I made fucked up decisions, And
so wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that you guys have had disagreements and stuff over a course of marriage, and you didn't leave her?
Nah.
Wow.
Okay. Well, Perfect Blackness is up here. Perfect Blackness just cut the bitch head off and throw her off the cliff.
These fools don't know what a relationship is.
Who said that? Who said you leave a bitch because you have a disagreement with her? Who's saying that?
No. It's just that's just the vibe a lot of these niggas say, man. And again, bro, I know even the niggas ain't married, or even if guys aren't married, you had a long-term relationship, man. I mean, whether it's a year or a couple of years or so on and so forth, whatever it may be. The only difference between a marriage and a fucking relationship is a piece of paper. You know what I'm saying? So by all means, if you invest that time in a relationship and into a female or a woman, hopefully if things don't work out, you guys go your separate ways and things are amicable, and you can remain friends and gain something from the experience and take it on to your next relationship or what have you, and be all the better for it.
Yeah, well, that ain't most breakups. I can tell you that right now. Now to answer Sister George's question about good women or haven't had a good woman, I got a good woman now, I have to get a foreign woman to get a pretty a decent woman. Before her, I haven't known many black women that were quote unquote good, and that includes the women that's within my own family that I went back and forth.
Wow.
But wait a minute. But you were married for 16 years at some point, right? She had to be good at some point, right?
I wasn't married for 16 years. I never said that.
Oh shoot,
I've been married. Yes, I've been married, divorced, now married again.
Yeah. So the first woman you married, she wasn't good at first.
Oh no, we didn't stay married no more than a year, and she's been putting me through custody battles for the last 8 years.
So what led you to marry her if she was a good man?
Mel Gill,
black
Mel Gill.
I heard this a lot too. I heard it's like, well, if you married her, you look, at that time, it was good. It was a good relationship and all of that. But when we got married, she wanted the divorce. I didn't want the divorce. I didn't want it. But again,
okay.
Go ahead, Sister Jill. Go ahead.
No,
because I know the more you ask, the more I get to get to my point. So go right ahead.
You know how the kids say, "Get out of there." I'm doing that. That's what I'm gonna do. Yep. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, but again, like I said, I haven't seen many good women I'm 45 years old. I have yet to see up until now. I have yet to see a woman that who can out clean me, out cook me. Again, I'm a type A, so I everything is always going to be in order with me. I'm a military guy and all of that. But look, black men have a real, especially, and I have to say the successful black men. Successful black men.
Wait, cooking is a qualification of a good woman? I mean,
it's in the report card.
Some men just can burn in the kitchen.
Please let me answer that. I became disabused of that requirement long ago, years ago, when I was constantly getting into a relationship and women look at me cross-eyed when I ask, hey, what you gonna cook? Black women don't cook in the United. They don't fucking cook.
Y'all playing. Stop it. Like y'all really don't.
They don't.
Y'all
What?
don't believe that. Stop.
No. Not only do they don't do it,
They don't even cook in the South.
They don't want to do it.
You ain't finna lie on that.
They don't clean. They don't clean.
You ain't finna lie on that perfect blackness.
Y'all the last generation
in the Northeast, you might get shot.
Y'all the last generation for that shit. Concrete Rose and Sister George. Y'all the last generation of like women that even had grandmothers or mothers to pass down cooking, cleaning, woman.
Why do you think? Why do you think? Why do you think dudes back in the day used to say, "I'm going to the South to get a black chick to marry"? Before it was going overseas, it was saying, "Fuck these, I'm going to the South." The North bitches are good to fuck, but but even now you gotta leave. Yeah, I mean it's still a percentage, but that percentage is getting smaller ever since like hip hop found the South, a decade ago. That the ratchetry has been turned all the way to hell up. That's really, in my opinion, what did it. If I really look.
So when I talk about a good woman, to me those things are almost inherent. What I wouldn't even list off can cook, is domestic, like those things are automatic.
But that just
no. That's hold on. That's like saying, okay, look, that's like saying this. If I were to ask you, okay, what body count should a good woman have? If you give me anything under 15, I'm laughing in your face. Because unless you've been in a long-term relationship before you, like it's gonna be high. You got I'm being and that. Oh, okay, I'm not even on that. What I'll say as far as the answering the question was asked, as far as that's the thing y'all don't understand about some of us. We can tell the difference. Like if you ask me, show me a dark-skinned woman with black with West African features, it's a good woman. I can easily find what that is. That chances are they're married, but I know women that are like that. Like and every complaint that we said and what it should be, they do it. And usually what it usually is usually a nigga that was my age went and got a 20-year-old. And got them knocked up quick. That's how they do in the South. Got them knocked up and 1, 2, 3 kids, and they got them before the bullshit, and they hit a point where they were raised right. I can show you multiple women in that situation. It's only a couple of women and I can show you some women that made that nigga wait too. I can show you a couple where they wanted to play their options and then they settled in with the dude that they got because they said, okay, this dude hits the metrics. I got like let's say a A- dude based on what I want. Let me see if I can get an A++. And I know this way they made them wait a couple years and then they settled and now they got kids and boom, boom, boom. That's the thing y'all don't get. We can tell you the difference. That 20% or 10%, but usually what it is, if you want that, you need to get them like 21 or less. And if you don't, when they get 22, 23, they belong to the streets. It's just whatever grade they got.
That's typically why older women have a problem with you dating younger women. But let me answer Danielle's question right quick. Have I ever had a good woman? No. And yes. It depends on which type of woman you're asking. Because I do date African women. And I've had a few good ones, and it didn't work out either because of religion or our personalities didn't mesh. But I could tell they were good women, and they couldn't make quality wives. But as for Black American women, the ones I've dated, no, I've never had even came across a Black American woman who I thought I need to lock her down as soon as possible. Because in the Black American community, that just doesn't exist. That's just so goddamn rare that if I do come across that shit, I'd be surprised I ever met that shit. But I meet that shit all the time when I meet African women. That ain't a thing when I meet African women because their culture teaches them that. And like BGS said, you shouldn't have to train a wife. But in the Black community,
that backhand teaches them too.
Yeah, in the Black community, our culture comes with as men, we gotta have some type of on the job training for their ass. And on top of that, they got all these damn employee fucking rights where once they get our ass, we can't even fire them. So it's a whole bunch of fucked up situations we got here that allows them to keep being bad women. But yeah, there's good women out there, but you typically have to go somewhere else other than Black American women to find women that meet those criteria, even know what those criteria are, that would make them a good woman.
Very, very, very interesting. Would you say that it was the attitudes that separated the women from the
I wanted to answer that question.
The attitudes.
It was the mindset.
It was an overall mindset, because like it was the mindset, because in order to make it to the age they made it at and still be at a level where they're quality, they had to have a mindset growing up. Like for me, there's 5 things that make a good woman. She can't be fat. She can't have a bad sexual history. She can't be uncooperative. She can't be have ratchet behavior. And you know, and typically with black women, you don't get those type of things. You can't find a black woman that meets all those criteria after the age of 21. Even before that, now you meet women who's 18 and they already got like a body count of 15 and they're like 50 pounds overweight. So it's hard to find that in the black community.
I will say this: if you have a black woman, I'm not even gonna get into the sexual history and all that, because you'll start nullifying everything. I'm not saying that's not looked at, because again, that comes back to commitment. That's the thing, commitment value. But anyway, if you hear a woman that says, and she demonstrates that she's like a homebody type, like I'm a homebody, I just don't like being out all the time like that. But they can be out if they know they're social. Generally, those are the women you gotta look. And that's the thing with a lot of dudes. A lot of dudes really don't know what to look at. Like for instance, BGS has said this, and I've always known this. You want to know what a chick is going to look like in 20 years or what a chick is going to act like in 20 years. You need to understand who her mama is. If her mama's a bitch, she's a bitch in training. Like I don't care what they say, because it's in them. It's part of genetic coding. It's just a matter of time. And if somebody were to tell me, oh well, just because your mama did it, okay, then go look at a couple other females in the family. And what you'll find is they're generally very, very similar when you put pressure on them. If you dealing with females and none of them are married, like most of them ain't married, you already know what you getting. This is why I keep saying when dudes be crying about child support, and I get it, I'm empathetic to a point, but they be like, yeah, man, I got with this chick and she just changed. I mean, I get shit happens, but I'm like, you can see that shit with the family. And the older I get, the more I realize that's true. Because I swear, man, I've seen some of these chicks that were fat. The women that were fat, their mama was a fat, but they look good, and that shit was tight. Yo. Boom. Soon as they get 35 or they have that kid, boom, they start looking just like they moms. I'm like, wow, I'm glad I stayed out to play another day. But yeah, homebody is usually a good quality. If you're dealing with people that want to be in them streets, then that leads to the sexual history. The sexual history is important because, like a rubber band, if you've been ran through constantly, it's not even about, take the ego out of it for a dude. And then I'll say this and I'm done. You all lose your ability to bond with a man the more sexual partners you have.
Right.
So really, if you have more than like 5, your ability to bond with a dude, unless he a superhero nigga, is really not there. And if he's a superhero nigga, then he's fucking multiple females. So you getting into a polygamous relationship, I don't give a fuck what he tells you.
Who lied to you?
That don't matter much.
And caramelized obesity. Bitch, I can have even fucking kids I want, and still I can tell what's a good woman and what's not a good woman. I got 15 kids right now.
All right, I'm hop off.
Matter with your fat ass.
Wait. So let me say this.
Whoa.
I'm gonna say something intellectual.
Yikes.
So I took a step back.
Bitch named herself glazed obesity. What the fuck?
No. If you gonna do all that, you can hop down in the comments with her, but don't do it on the panel, bro. Jesus Christ.
Discipline. So here's something I noticed when I stepped back. I was listening to y'all in the car. This is why I coined the phrase of the 20%. This is why I coined the phrase. Is because what Sister George and C. Rose has done is use their polite ways or their, decent ways and extended that to the rest of the sisterhood. Not intentionally, but just by happenstance. Because what a lot of these dudes are saying is how the 80% conduct themselves. And it's hard for a woman to understand it when you don't date them. But let me prove something.
Mr. Research, we're talking about basic stuff, though.
Who?
We're talking about basic stuff.
I know, but my lady, you know, there are so many women black that don't cook better than a white girl. There are so many people or women black who don't make soul
I
food better
can't even
than
knock
Asian.
a woman for if she can cook better than, like, is she trying? Is she in the kitchen trying to make sure she has a home cooked meal for her man?
I've known women to burn macaroni.
I've had to teach women. I've had to teach how to make spaghetti, how to cook a steak.
I can't even lie. My man is a better cook than me, but I cook every night.
Let's take better out of it. Let's do basic. I've known women who. What are you cooking? Some kind of meat. Some kind of meat.
Or spaghetti.
No. She said some kind of meat.
I've had to teach women the purpose of marinade. I've had to teach women the actual purpose, what the purpose of marinating meat is.
Huh?
Why you leave it in there all night long?
I've seen.
Oh my God.
No, I'm serious.
I feel like y'all talking about 15-year-olds. Y'all talking about 15-year-olds.
Y'all
gotta start accepting this.
Yeah, I'm 45 years old. I'm talking about women my age and maybe in their 30s.
Did you get them from the? Did you get them off the welfare line? I'm like, where you get them from, though?
No. Let me. Let me use it in the man way.
I want to know.
I'm so glad you asked that question because me personally, I've always went for more of the educated women. You know, the ones who are bachelor's degrees,
the
master's
more educated,
degrees,
the worse they are.
Working corporate America and all, and those are the motherfucking worst ones. Those are the ones.
They're the worst they are.
Those are the ones
I'm 20,
who don't want to cook.
I'm 26 years
and boy, who got the junkiest, the nastiest homes I've ever seen in my
Wait, which ones? Who are you guys talking about?
Corporate
the ones who work a lot.
Yeah, corporate women a lot of times don't want to cook. Yeah. They feel like, I'm a career woman.
Exactly. Those are the worst women. I've had to learn that at this age. I've had to learn those are the worst women to partner with. They are the worst prepared women for marriage, for couple. They're real good to keep in the bed.
You know why that's strange to me? My daughters
Zero.
are still young girls, and they both cook. One is a vegan, and she can cook. The other, she has a baking business. She cooks.
Concrete Road, that is they're outliers.
That's because of you.
Outliers. They are
if
not
I had a competition, I had a competition with her girlfriend, they couldn't do that.
Okay. I mean, I believe you guys. I'm not dating women, so I can't.
A small portion.
Why do y'all think lesbians are complaining about the black women they do? Seriously,
I didn't know they were.
Serious. Let's put this on the table. Let me put my Edward hat on for a minute. Why do y'all think lesbians are having problems? For the same reason.
But all that's offered is short-term relationships, so that's what happens.
Oh well, no, that's a hyperbole.
No, it's not. It's what's going on in the real world.
Okay, again, that's a hyperbole.
You're not married. You've had personal situations where you had beautiful women cook for you, and you didn't do nothing to them but have sex with them.
No, I haven't.
That's what the majority of you offer. So why is someone gonna?
Wait,
he's trying to derail.
I'm saying I'm going by the stuff that you said. You told the story.
He's trying to derail. Go ahead.
I'm saying you told these stories.
Well, you know what I want to say really quick. I just want to say this really quick. I have this is I've seen a lot of black women, especially as of late, deflect when men ask if they can cook. They say something like, "Can you build a house?" or and it's almost like you shouldn't even be asking me if I know how to cook, and why should that matter? And then they divert back.
I'm saying since the 90s we've had short-term relationships that's basically promoted, so no one's gonna do those wifely things, or you're gonna end up being as a side chick.
Okay, who promoted these short-term relationships?
I'm saying it's been that way since the 90s. Whoever did it, it's already here. So the girls who are in their 20s and 30s, that's all they know.
See, this is why it's disingenuous, because when you come up,
George Fraser, I did not say I can't cook. I said my man cooks.
No, I'm saying you're talking about the girls who are in their 20s and 30s and up to age 40. I'm saying this has been the culture for 30 years now. These girls grew up that way. So no, they're not going to learn how to cook. They're not going to know how to do all this stuff because that's not required.
All you get is ass. That's all that's happening. No one builds
Wait,
relationships.
hold on one second, Miss J. What was the question? Perfect Blackness.
He's saying the same thing 4 times.
Wait, let him
Right.
ask.
Did I hear you correctly? You said that your man cooks better than you. Is that what you said?
Yes, he's older than me. He is a great
Most
cook.
men do.
I'm
Men do
gonna tell you
better
something.
than
You
me.
know why too? Because I'm generally multitasking. He's focused on the task at hand, and he is an excellent cook. That doesn't mean that I can't cook. I can cook. Don't get me wrong. He's just a better
what's
cook.
wrong
Like,
with her
come
man
on.
being able to cook
Hey,
better?
Rose,
Right.
you describe my household with my wife. Like she'll be multitasking and cooking, and I'll be like, whenever I cook, I gotta concentrate on the couple items I know how to cook. Usually, because
Listen, that's how it is. But he's great at everything he does. There's nothing he can't do. If he can build a house, so that's what he does.
Well,
I'm not mad.
The reason why I bring that up, the point about the cooking, is that the type of women that we're the black women in the black community, they don't even want to do it. And I've been I've never had my head bit off asking, hey, you gonna cook anything? Or the fuck this ain't goddamn 50s. This ain't the 40s.
I feel like
Listen to that conversation right there.
I'm old fashioned. I think a woman is supposed to cook for her man. At least you should be cooking 4 to 5 times a week.
You may not want to say that too loud.
I know. Most of my opinions are not popular.
I had a criteria for a wife, man. She got to cook, dog.
But this is
she
why
has to cook, Gab.
Yeah, she got to fucking cook. Like that's absolutely like I was just raised like that.
Okay, so the other question is, then does she have to also work outside the house?
Say it again.
If she cooks and tends to the house, then she shouldn't have to work outside the house, right?
Oh no, she's gonna change the oil too.
No, but I'm saying nowadays people don't know how to change a tire. They don't know how to change oil. They can't fix a leak. People can't do none of that stuff.
You better know how to do all that. You gonna leave me stranded?
Too many women having.
I'm saying, but a lot of people they
don't even know the difference between a goddamn lug wrench or a lug nut.
Exactly.
I don't expect
they go get their oil change at the place. They go get their food from somebody else. Nobody knows none of those old school things anymore. Young people don't. They just don't know it.
If he's taking it to the shop, I mean, if my car has to go to the shop to get the oil change, then the man of the house should be the one taking it at least. If he doesn't know how to do it,
let's talk about who they is. They was not the men. The men were not the ones sitting up here creating these type of scenarios because Grandpa used to strong arm the boys and make sure the boys stayed in that. Hey, make sure you take care of the woman mentality. It was
whoever's at fault that it doesn't happen anymore.
See, there you go.
It don't happen no more.
I'm talking about see, they go to derail. I'm talking about who is at fault. Who is at fault?
Okay, but I'm saying you're talking about grandpa. We're talking about people who are in their teens, 20s, and 30s. They're not grandpas.
Over and over again, just to derail the conversation. You've already said that 2 times.
Why are you bringing up?
Mr. Research, answer it though. Does she have a point in that there was a gap in the culture? No, I think she does. That there's been a gap in how the culture was shaped with regard to what the roles were in the household. There has been some gap or something happened. I think she's right about that.
Well, how did that gap occur, Gab? How did that happen?
I was trying to say, it's like, look, gap. Okay. Something happened, yes, but she's trying to say that this imaginary they people created it, and she keeps saying that two and three times. It's like it's not a they thing. Women bought into what white women were selling. White women saw that black men were bringing them in the factories. Black men was doing all this stuff before voting, and the imaginary they that she's talking about is when the black woman got up there and bit into the white woman's apple. Because the white woman realized, hold on, I'm just a housewife. This C Rose.
Black women got to stop following Karen.
Where were black men at when they were doing that?
When they were doing which one?
See, here's the part where I argue a little bit.
Okay.
The wife does not just up and do anything without some sort of blessing from that home. And so what we're
okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like
most of those
men,
women were
if
college
there were
women
men there,
yet to be married. Most of those women were yet to be married. Many of you guys saw the famous YouTube debate between an older black woman in the 70s and a young college student. Many of those women were unmarried women. They were women coming from college after drinking the white woman's juice and saying, "No, we don't need to do that with men anymore." And
how is it that she was able to drink the white woman's juice? How does that happen with strong men in the home?
Because when you're at college, many times your mind gets. Go ahead, Perfect Blackness. I'll be quiet.
I'm sorry. I was asking Gal because I kind of want to get to the bottom of that. Are you saying that the men allowed the women to drink the white woman's juice? As he was.
I don't know if he allowed it. I'm saying that it did not happen. Either he was there and it happened in his face.
It didn't happen unknowingly, basically.
Or it happened when in a way that we didn't know it was happening. And
so
I'm asking
implies,
you guys, the reason I'm asking you guys, I'm posing it as a question so that I don't impose my mindset into it. I actually want to hear from you when I ask, was there a man there watching his daughter or his wife drink the white woman's Kool-Aid? And I want to know, what was he doing?
Okay, right. And that's the reason why I asked my question, because that implies that the man allowed it to happen right in front of him and he did nothing.
Like he felt powerless too.
I asked you a question, brother. Whether you want to say I implied it or not. And
no, I didn't say that you
since
implied.
You guys the reason I'm doing that, brother, is because I want to hear from you with respect to it. What happened is the question.
Okay. Look, to even ask that question again, in my mind, I don't know how anybody else see it. But in order to when you ask that question, it implies that somebody just let it happen right in front of them. That they had the power. Hold on. That they had the power to stop it, and they just let it happen. That's what that implies.
Now I want to hear from you. Now that you have said that I impose it, because I know what you're trying to do with it. I believe I understand what you're trying to do with that. So now that you're establishing that I implied it, would you please answer the question?
To answer your question, I would say that, well, first of all, I don't think that black men actually allowed anything to happen in that respect. I just don't. I think that most of this, to answer your question, I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that, yes, black women swallowed and voluntarily swallowed that feminism Kool-Aid from white women, and then this.
So in the man's presence, so therefore in the dad's presence, as a father, or in the husband's presence as a husband, the woman swallowed the Kool-Aid, and we just let the white man snack our happy family that or whatever we were trying to build away from us. And it's just that simple. There she goes.
Well, I'm not going to go down. I'll say this, Gab. I'll say this, and you can take it however you want to take it, or anybody can take it however they want to take it. From my view of things, black women became very convinced of a feminist movement that really had nothing to do with them. They became convinced of it, okay? And that's what he was saying about swallowing that juice, okay? And that whole feminist movement is actually backed up by a whole society that we have no power to even stop at all. Outside of hold on. Outside of saying, you know what? We just won't fuck with you no more. We won't date you. Won't put my sperm in you no more. Won't do none of that no more because you're out of pocket. You swallowed that whole juice. You swallowed that whole pitcher of Kool-Aid of feminism. If that's what you want, go right ahead and have it. Now,
so he was saying they're powerless against it.
I
don't. Let me get my answer.
He's saying
I think he was finishing up. Let him finish up real quick because he was trying to finish his
our woman. That what he's saying without trying to say it, because it doesn't sound very masculine. to let other men take your woman. What he's
No, see,
actually
I'm not saying
saying
that,
is
'cause I
that
see.
they took our woman and changed our culture, and therefore y'all drunk the Kool-Aid and you're gone. And their response to it is, look, okay, well, fuck it, I'm not fucking with you no more now. And I'm not arguing about that either.
Okay,
Because
so
they do need to learn
outside of not
that
fucking with them, so what do you think? What do you think black men should have done?
they recognize how we need to
Before he
strengthen.
do that, let me get my answer
No.
to the question.
I need the question.
I just said it. One
I
sentence. Recognize
I need to know
recognize that we need to
what black
strengthen our culture. Now, I'm answering it in one sentence. I'm not going back and forth with you about it. You need to recognize that you need to recognize, brother, that we need to strengthen our culture and what it is we got going on between each other. Now, one way that you've decided to strengthen it is to let black women know that if you're going to continue along those lines, we're not fucking with you. And I'm not rejecting that just yet. But you need to acknowledge exactly what the fuck went on. Like I don't want you to skip over that part.
Well, you don't want me to skip over what?
To acknowledge exactly what went on when black women stepped off. If they stepped off, we was there and watched them step off and had no power to do anything about it, or we did.
I've never been one. See, I don't get off into the manly, not manly, or you just wasn't man enough to stop. I don't get off into that.
No, I
do
didn't
recognize
say I wasn't man enough.
I do recognize that there's a societal power that black men don't have.
Well, I'm not trying to shame black men. I'm not trying to shame black men. I'm on your side. I'm more on your side than you think I am. It's just that the way that you've been trained to think about brothers like myself, the shit you've been following, it makes me sound a little different than where you're coming from.
Well, I don't get into the whole thing that black men just wasn't man enough. I don't get into that. I just don't. I do put a lot of onus on our black women because when it's all said and done,
of course you do.
They still swallowed that goddamn Kool-Aid of feminism. And now they are so jumping high on it, they don't want to let it go because it is giving them power.
So here's the answer I was trying to give. The answer I was trying to give is that, yes, Gab, I'll be fair. Yeah, half of that is true. But here's the thing, and I'm going to use Tarana Burke as an example. Here's the thing. A lot of black dudes, especially black dudes who have daughters, Gab, they have empathy for their daughters. Okay. And when it comes to controlling their daughters, expressing themselves or finding new female information, a lot of those men who allowed it that are fathers and uncles, let me just stick with them first. They don't want to squash what those daughters have found out about new information because they have empathy for their daughters. But the other half is true. The other half is true that a lot of dudes, when they could have been more financially into politics and destroyed the laws that supported it, when they could have been more financially using marketing to join some of the people who were against it. So yeah, on that part, I will agree with you. So it is a double-edged sword. My final thing, because I know a lot of people got to share the mic. My final thing is that, man, look, I don't hate women or have a disdain for women, but I'm at the point for solution-wise that black sons, I'm talking about the new ones, not these dudes who are mad and want to express it all the time. The new black sons, they need to drive past a lot of these problems because it's not a fair thing to ask these boys to be protectors while at the same time being step stools. The 20% of women that are valid, like the women that run this panel, they want to converse with a man and not talk down to him. You know what? Protect them. Run across a 5-mile yard and make sure they're protected. But all that just because they black, just because they light skinned, just because they beautiful, I'm not going to sacrifice my job or my life to protect those women who are not honorable, because those women are creating, the 80% are creating chaos everywhere they go, and they're creating a new war everywhere they go. For people who are interested, I'm dropping the classic 1970 debate between black women on Tony Brown's show in the chat room, and I'm gonna share the mic on that.
Okay. What I would like to say.
Respect to that. Go ahead, Roger.
Well, yeah. What I would like to say, there was a combination of things that happened during that time gap because honestly, you know what I'm saying, there was certain issue between black men and black women anyway because they came out of slavery. Then it was Jim Crow, and then what a lot of people don't pay attention to, you had the Civil Rights Act signed in 1964. That was the beginning of where black people started getting it wrong. And then you had the Vietnam War come in right in 1965, and you had feminism blowing up right during that time. So I think it was a combination of things that really got us to that particular point. I don't think men was just letting women drink the Kool-Aid, but at the end of the day, a lot of men was fighting and dying in the war, and everybody acts like black men didn't do that, but they were in that war. And but my thing is to bring it back to the point of the show. You know, how valuable is a good woman? She's very much invaluable because to be a good woman, there's 3 basic things you have to do. You have to be loyal. You gotta have good character, and you gotta be of good company. And to the average man, the average sister is not those 3 things. If you bring 2 to the table, you're not good. You gotta have all 3. Point blank, period. And that's hard for most black men to find, period. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of if they got kids, if they don't got kids, if they got a job, got a job and all that type of stuff. I don't buy into all that stuff about who women cutting off and all that, because according to the children that they have, black women generally don't even have standards. They'll have a baby by just about anybody, which means they'll have sex by just about anybody. So it's not like women are holding men off from having sex. They'll basically give it up if you show up. That's all you really got to do is show up. You know what I'm saying? And they will give it to you. So just having standards isn't there. That's why good women are so valuable. I've met good women, but usually they were married. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to answer the question that I think it was Sister George that asked.
Okay.
Yeah, to answer the question that Sister George was asked, like, did you ever have a good woman? I would have to come down to the fact the answer is no. Why? Because I didn't marry any of them. And if they were truly good, I wouldn't have let them go. Just that simple. I had some with potential to be great women. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I've gone back and thought about one certain woman, like, was she good? Did I let her go? But there was too much stuff where I can't say this. No, she was just good.
Okay. Well, yeah, no argument.
Can I answer?
I'm gonna get off the panel. Of course, y'all know I married a good woman. Almost 30 years now.
We know how whipped you are. We know you.
What you said? Did you say we know how whipped he is?
Lucky.
I'm saying that in humility, man. I did luck up, bro. I did, and it is difficult right now to find a woman with a similar set of values. It is. So I don't argue with you guys there. I address the parts of the conversation that I think will give the conversation a certain kind of balance. A lot of times I think there's an effort made to keep it one-sided and pointed in one direction. And I often don't think it's productive. So I came to interject. I'm gone.
But
Thank you, bro, Gab.
Mr. Gab, before you leave.
Can I answer?
Mr. Gab, I had to check my own homeboy. Mr. Gab, who was mistreating his girl. I said, dude, I'm going to tell you one time, homie. Don't do that, man. I like your wife. Your wife is stellar, bro. And you got a good situation and 3 boys. Don't mess up. Took him 10 months, Mr. Gab. After 10 months, he said, man, you right. I need to reinvest in my wife. That's what it is.
Yeah. Real talk, bro. Real talk.
Okay.
Can I answer?
You can go ahead and answer.
I was going to say there's a very simple reason why nowadays the younger people don't know how to cook or do any of those kind of things that the older generations did, simply because it's not taught. There was something in high school called home economics and shop class. They took that out. They have mothers who work outside the home. I'm saying they don't have to, when they come home, they don't want to teach their daughters how to cook. When the fathers come home from work, they don't want to go out to the garage and teach the kid how to do stuff. They'd rather do other things. They sit their kid in front of the TV. They put their kids in front of their cell phones. They put their kids on the internet. And so that's why they don't know how to learn something. It's not because they're Black. It's not because they're horrible people. It's simply because they weren't taught. That's it.
Then you're horrible. You can't not teach your
That's
kids
fair.
and say they're good people.
I'm saying that you can't blame the people who weren't taught.
No.
That started decades ago. That didn't start today. The kids who are in their 30s now, they weren't taught that 15 years ago.
I get what you're saying, but that
was my whole point. That was my entire point.
I hear you, but let me say what I'm trying to say, because what you saying ain't gonna change what I'm gonna say. I hear what you're saying, but at some point you became 18 years old. At some point you start making your own decisions.
You don't have to learn how to cook nowadays to eat. That's the whole thing.
I understand what you're saying. First of all, if you can't cook, she might as well be a man. That's my stance, period. You know what I'm saying? I don't even understand why a man would even talk to a woman if he found out she can't cook, because that's not old-fashioned.
I'm saying that's your standard.
Hold on. No.
That's your standard. That's not theirs.
Ma'am, please. It's not old-fashioned to cook. We eat every day. It's not old-fashioned. We gotta eat every single day. I understand. Babies eat every day without cooking. I've never seen a baby cook. I get that. Okay? But that just because you can do something doesn't mean you shouldn't have an ability to live your life without that particular skill. And as an adult person, you should know how to cook, period. So if a woman can't cook, that's pathetic. You know what I'm saying? To me, that she barely qualifies as a woman.
I'm saying to you.
Well, it seems like to most men, because they ain't marrying them. So yeah, it seems like it's a general consensus on that. Even though you can say it's to me, but the results are results, regardless of me.
People all over the world aren't getting married anymore. It's not even a necessity.
So what? That's not what people all over the world not doing something don't make the fact that you can't do it any better.
But that doesn't mean they're horrible people. Is my only point.
It don't mean they good either. If you don't have basic life skills, it's hard to make a case that you're good. We're not talking about rocket science. We're talking about something basic.
Okay, but I'm saying back in the day, you had to kill your food in order to eat it. You don't have to do that no more. Just because you can't hunt doesn't mean you're not a good person.
That's true.
Just because you can't fish don't mean you're not a good person. You just go to the store and get it.
Hold on, I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, if a man had to go out to go kill some food, yeah, we still know how to do that. It ain't like people don't know how to go. It ain't like people don't know how to take a gun and go shoot something or set a trap for something.
They don't.
And even if you weren't even trained on it, even if you weren't even trained on it, as men, we're put in situations all the time that we have not been trained for, and we
middle-aged man
figure
can't
it
change
out.
a tire, something's wrong.
No,
I'm saying there are a lot of people who can't do that stuff. It got nothing to do with you not being a good person.
Saying.
What I'm saying is
there's a lot of people in their 40s who can't change a tire. A lot of men who can't do that. There's a lot of them who can't even drive.
Plenty of men.
But it makes you not a good mate. It
ain't got nothing to do with you being a good person.
Plenty of men
have been put.
Yeah, plenty of men have been put in situations. Plenty of men have been put in situations that they have not been trained for and simply figured it out, because we've always been told you're a man. That's what men do. So to say a man can't change a tire is kind of foolish, because he would just sit there, look at the tire, and he figure it out. It ain't that complicated.
A lot of them don't. They call AAA and move on with their life.
My point is
it doesn't mean they're a horrible person.
Tire, regardless of that, if a man needed to change a tire, he look at it and figure it out. That's what men do.
There's a lot of men who can't even drive.
I think ideally, you can call AAA, but there are certain scenarios that you might be in that it could. I mean, like especially in Atlanta, it could take.
I agree. It's good. It's good to have those kind of life skills. But I'm saying that has nothing to do with you being a good person.
And I think it comes out to what each individual wants. Like for me, I need a man who knows how to change a tire. If you can't change a tire and I know how to change a tire, and we stuck on the side of the road and I'm changing the tire and you sitting in the driver's seat, it's going to be a problem for me.
Right. I'm saying if you're living in the South where you need to go ahead and drive everywhere, that makes perfect sense.
Right.
But I'm saying different scenarios are different things. That doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Okay. There are a lot of women. I don't think that means you're a bad person.
No,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people. If you gave them the time and the utensils, they can learn how to cook. You have a whole bunch of different cooking shows. They can sit in front of there and learn how to do it, but they don't have to at the time.
They're almost implying that they don't have the desire, that the women that they come across don't have the desire to.
No,
they don't have the motivation or the desire to.
They don't.
Right? They don't.
The issue here is black men have to deal with standards, and we understand standards, and we know standards make someone good. Because if you don't reach a certain standard, you cannot be good. The general black woman wants a world where there is no standards, so everybody's good. I'm actually gonna do a show. That's the next show I'm doing on my channel. I'm gonna do a show about the fact.
I mean, unemployment stats don't show that though. If you want to keep it real.
A fact about that competition breeds excellence, and sisters don't want competition. Therefore, excellence is not breeded.
But the employment stats don't back up what you're saying. The education stats don't back up what you're saying. The reading comprehension stats don't back up what you're saying.
The marriage stats.
You want to keep it
real?
Get out of there,
what about the marriage
stats? Get out of here. Okay, so we're gonna have final thoughts.
Let's let Ed get in there regarding the topic first, Danny. I'm sorry, he had come on the panel and he wanted to chime in.
Who's echoing?
It's probably me.
Well, I wanted to answer Gav's question, and I was just gonna point out that it wasn't the woman currently involved in it. It affected their offspring, their daughters and shit. They're the ones that had made the change, and then their daughters after that. And you see, it's a cascading effect, basically. So it's not like the men that were dealing with those women just had women outright, change in front of their eyes or drink when they drank the Kool-Aid. It was more so that it affected, kind of poisoned the well for the younger women. So the men that grew up in that same generation as their daughters had to deal with it. But it wasn't, I guess you say it wasn't that big of a deal because the older men didn't have to deal with those women. The younger men did. And the younger men, they grew up in the same environment. So they were already kind of ready or made for that environment with these women. That's why hence, the marriage rate declining, generation over generation.
Because you don't have to get married nowadays. It's not.
The point is nobody wants to marry.
Right. Yeah.
The crazy thing is, a lot of black women
for survival. You don't need
I've been seeing polls regarding black women. They don't want to marry. Less and less black women actually feel that it's necessary to marry.
They don't want to be married, but they do want the validation of a man to marry.
No, they don't want that either. I used to fight and say that they did. I've been seeing all week long, just massive groups that I'm in. The majority of women are saying they don't care about marriage and they don't want to marry.
I have to agree. I have to agree with Roger on that one. The women they want that.
You guys can't tell women what they want, but one of the primary reasons that they're quoting is because they feel that they saw their mothers and grandmothers in marriages and they weren't good marriges. They don't have good examples.
Here's the part.
They don't have examples of sound marriages.
Here's the part that women miss. Women don't hear. The women say, I have to agree with Roger. They want the affirmation and they want the ceremony. They don't want to have to deal with the ebbs and flow of the marriage itself, the relationship of the marriage.
Yeah, but this is a new day and time. That all that fluff and stuff, a lot of women don't care about that. This is like the Cardi B generation. They don't care nothing about a marriage ceremony. They're saying they don't want marriage. They don't want a wedding.
I have a question. When are you going to be in a position to marry a woman from the perspective of a man? Because there's things that we hear that you don't hear. I take that back. You hear it, you don't interpret it.
So what is that supposed to mean?
Because
then there's going to be things that,
as Roger alluded to, yes, the women, they want the affirmation that comes along with being married. They want the ceremony. They want the attention. They don't want to deal with the ebbs and flow of the relationship itself.
Yeah,
that's
but you're speaking that as if it's a fact. There is a group of a certain segment of the population that do want that, but I think that the number is becoming increasingly smaller.
And
Really?
you can tell by the behavior. People wanted to be married.
They're
They would do
blatantly
all the things you're
saying we
saying. They
don't
don't
want
want
it.
it.
We don't care
See,
nothing
y'all
about that.
missing. Y'all
Y'all
are
missing out
Missing
on
it.
what he's
actually
saying.
saying what I'm saying. I hope Miss J
I,
and Concrete
I must have
Rose understands
misinterpreted
it.
you. Go ahead,
You're agreeing with me, as Roger said, and I agree with him. The women, they want the affirmation, they want the attention, they want that status that comes along with having the title of being married. They don't want to deal with the ebbs and flow, the giving and taking that comes along with being in a marital relationship.
I don't think that's
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
were saying, but
They
okay.
they
Oh,
they
well,
want to be wives, but they don't want the responsibility of being a wife.
that's
They
absolutely
don't want to be a wife then. That's the whole point. They don't want it.
I used to fight and say the same thing all the time. But as of late, I've changed my perspective because I'm hearing it from the women saying, we don't care nothing about that. I've heard women saying, I do want children, but I don't want to be married. Like, who wants to
Because
be
they
tied
not good
down to a
people.
man? I've seen men abuse my
Okay,
grandmother and my mama, and I've seen this and I've
you
seen
just
that.
answered what
So
I
they
said.
want a child. They don't even want the man to be in the relationship with the child. They literally just want the
Concrete
child.
Rose.
They want
Concrete
his
Rose.
sperm.
Are you listening to what you're saying? And did you listen to what I just said?
I kind of feel like y'all are both saying the same things, just from
It's
different
something totally different.
perspectives.
We are on the same sheet of
Can
music.
you interpret it? Because I don't. That's
I
not.
was about to. What you're saying is women really don't really care about being married, period. And he's saying that women want to be married, but don't want the things that come along with the marriage, like the responsibilities that come along with the marriage, the maintaining, the nurturing, the caring, the the shit that marriage really requires.
They want the
And that's what I
title. They
heard him
want the
say.
title,
But I was
Mrs.
saying
Exactly. That's what he's
that's what
saying.
I heard him say, and that's not what I was saying.
Yeah.
I heard him say that, and I said that's what I used to think, but now as of late, I don't think they even want the title. That's my point.
Well, and I kind of feel what Concrete is saying. When I said that women aren't really, a lot of women, like it's increasing that women don't really want to be married. Like shit,
They don't even want the title.
Yeah,
They
like,
rapidly more women don't even want the baby. And more of them don't even want the baby. They just don't want it.
That's true. Well,
however, I don't think it's the majority. I don't think it's the majority. I don't
but the
think
number
it's a
is
small
growing.
percentage.
Like if you look at it, and I thought that it was so weird. Like
in this
if
community.
they didn't want the title, they wouldn't be complaining about the men.
Now, women are not stupid. Women are not stupid. They understand.
women are always gonna complain about the man.
Now, women are not stupid. They understand. Okay, if they go up there and they get married, they're going to have to spend some time with this dude. But if women had this fantasy situation where they can go up to the altar, get all the attention, wine and dine, and then before it's time to have sex with the husband, tear up the contract and go on about their business, you will have a hell of a lot more women that would do that. But we all know in the real world, once you do all that, you've got to spend at least a couple of hours with the dude before you can annul it.
Here go the solution. Everybody needs to financially put themselves in better environments. Let me start off with the women. Women, I made a video. Finding a decent dude is very, very easy, to be honest. You just have to pay the ticket price to go to some of these areas where a higher quality of dude is. Now, I know the sisterhood argument to that is my crystal ball says that doesn't mean he's going to be good. No, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to use this guy like you would a broke guy. It doesn't mean you're going to be able to talk to this guy slick mouth when he's just as educated as you or has a manager position just like you do. It means you're going to have to do what most women do, deal with the human being on a teammate level. Some of it's going to work, some of it ain't. But if you're not going to pay that ticket price to go to the Black Doctors Convention when it comes to your state, that's your problem. If you're not going to go to where the Black engineers are that have their monthly dinner, then that's your problem. Because
I think that's actually good advice.
And now let me flip it over to the dudes. Same thing with the dudes. I got my lady off of a Colombian app.
You dudes need to stop complaining and just go pay the cost to be the boss. Go pay for these different sites that don't have bots on them, that have actual women who are actually mature. I put on my channel about the Dutch women talking about black love, actual black Dutch women talking about black love. And many of my fans was like, oh, they look nice and they speak well. There's a lot of women who are black who could advance you as a black man speaking 2 languages, do just the same secretarial work as the American, just the same CFO. And if you're worried about westernized, then let me tell you, black man, that's your problem. That's your leadership problem. Because what a lot of the complaints women have is lack of black male leadership. I've seen black dudes that can't even lead a white dude, a white chick well. A white chick well. Shout out to Tim Duncan failing at his white chick. Shout out to Antonio Brown failing at his white chick. Shout out to a couple other dudes failing at their white chick. So let's deal with that solution before we get off the panel, because look, we can complain all day long on both sides, but the problem is we don't want to put ourselves in environments where the higher quality woman is, and for you sisters, where the higher quality man is. Because now the higher quality man, you ain't going to be able to hit him with, you should come to me if you want me, because every woman in the room is introducing herself. That's what it's like on the higher level.
All right, let me say my little piece and I'm going to close my in out. I'm going to say my little piece, but I'm going to close my in out. So in my opinion, unfortunately, the fellas have squandered the 2 hours talking about what the topic was actually supposed to be about, and that is the value of a good woman, I think majority of the conversation was about, once again, what's wrong with black women. One of the things,
as it always is. Good point, Jack.
One thing that I end up having to do, which actually allowed me to meet the woman who became my wife, who is now my ex-wife, is I knew what I wanted out of a potential wife in my life. I admitted that, yeah, there's some jacked up women out here, but I was more concerned about what I wanted out of the woman in my life. And if I found her, that was the woman that I was going to marry, which turned into, at 36, I believe I ended up marrying a woman, and we stayed married for 7 years. Only reason why the marriage ended is because she stopped believing in herself and she stopped believing in the value that she brought into the relationship. That is the only reason why I had to let her go, because I had goals and aspirations for myself and for my biological son who was living with me that far outweighed the weight that she was no longer pulling in the household. But fellas and ladies, enjoy y'all week. Y'all take care. Everybody be safe. Monday, get your asses back to work.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks, Jack.
Anyway, black women, if you want to be a better person, be a good person, you can learn how to cook. It's not that hard. There's an app for that. Food Network.
Or YouTube, just ton of YouTube videos.
I'm just saying, yeah, YouTube videos. It's not that hard, really. I know our parents didn't teach us that. We didn't have home economics, but honestly, it's not rocket science. They break it all down for you. If you can read or follow directions, you can cook. Just, don't feel bad. Just learn. That's it.
Thanks, Miss J. Roger, you want to give us your final thoughts?
I mean, at the end of the day, like I'm gonna say, good black woman is invaluable because they're hard to come across, especially meeting one that's actually single. Because and single is not already in a relationship, because that's hard to meet. Point blank, period. Now, if you start adding to point, looking good, not having children, nice attitude, and all that, you see what I'm saying? It just get even tougher. Mr. Research made a good point about the internet. I would say I wouldn't do the internet. I'm not saying you can't meet a good woman on the internet. I'm pretty sure it's possible at some point you can't meet a good woman on the internet. My perception, if a woman has to get on the internet, I'm already looking at her funny, because I know men shoot their shot on a regular basis in all type of areas. Why would you need to put yourself on the internet as a woman? Because men are chasing the women, not really women chasing men. I mean, there's some women chasing men nowadays.
That's becoming more and more common, though. Like, because people lead such busy lives, sometimes it's more out of convenience.
I understand it's becoming more common, but for a woman to for a woman to have the need to put herself on the internet because she can't attract a good man, I already got to look at her funny. Like, man,
That's not why they do it.
Yeah, that's not why they do it.
We'll let him finish up his
I'm
final
not
thoughts
saying
real
that.
quick, and then
My perspective, my perspective is if you're an attractive woman and you know what I'm saying, because that's all you need to do to get into the door, get your foot in the door, is just be attractive. A dude gonna talk to you if you're attractive. Now all these other great qualities just makes him wants to get up with you and keep you. So my perspective is if you got to get on the internet, everybody around you ain't really taking you like that. So that I'm gonna always look at a woman on the internet funny.
We need to do a show on that.
Is it possible?
I actually am going to do a
is
show
it
on it.
possible that everybody in her area is on that crime thing?
on that crime thing.
Yeah,
He talking about hood rats.
I'm talking about
Like she live in the ghetto.
when you in Baltimore or when you over in SMU, you can't. I mean, just using Roger's theory of just walk around looking attractive, you running into killers all the time.
I know attractive women who are like on all kind of dating sites because first of all, in Atlanta, it's hard. Like and you know, they think it's a lot of F boys out here. So they want to be able to talk to someone to get to know them on a deeper level before, you know, anything physical. You know.
Well, let me say this just to finish up my final thought, because I don't want to start a whole new conversation about that, because that's just my perspective on it. At the end of the day, that's I actually have got that playing as a show, because that's my thing. I don't think men should be really chasing women on the internet. That's just that's my perception. It really is. Oh yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk. Y'all got.
Never mind. I don't want to do it no more.
I didn't hesitate. I said that's cool. I said that's cool.
About this shit.
Girl, you got my number. Stop playing games. Anyway, my thing is good women are very valuable. They are very important to have, and I personally hope that a lot more women will put effort into being a good woman. I know a lot of sisters are not trained in competition, and I think y'all should compete for men because, again, competition breeds excellence. And at the end of the day, the more we compete as individuals, the better we'll be. If we want our society as us as Black folk, if we want our group to be better, that means we got to compete more at the end of the day. So that's what it is for me. And I'm gonna leave it at that. And I'll holler at y'all later.
Thank you, Roger. Mela, you want to give us your final thoughts, hon?
I find it curious that if women are to quote unquote compete, that being online is out of the question. If his interest is that women should compete, they're broadening their horizons as to how they would compete. But that's a whole nother story. The title for me is significant, having, been married twice. And what was very significant is that I wasn't an opponent. It was refreshing for my husband to discover a Black woman that wasn't trying to, not trying, but just by nature is not considering him an opponent off the bat. Like, oh yeah, it's my nature to just figure that you own something. It's my nature to think that you're trying to get over on me. I genuinely had that combination of I am socially aware, however, I seek peace. And therefore, I don't want to cohabitate with someone that is my opponent. So I'm not going to treat you like an opponent. To me, that's what a good man is, someone that doesn't intend to be your opponent. What things get turned is sometimes a woman is painted into a corner where she has to defend herself. And I'm not talking about domestic violence. I'm talking about like these residual snide comments and misplaced blame and misplaced aspects of responsibility that interfere with the dynamics of compatibility. Like, how can I treat you as if you're not my opponent when every day you're talking to me about the residual effects of opposition that you've experienced throughout your entire life as a Black man. What we need to establish is the tranquility, peace, and understanding within our realm that you've established and invited me into. And that's why, that's what makes a long-term commitment work, when you establish the mutual agreement that you all are not opponents. So, these slick ass, yeah, because you see this, how all that conjecture of that basically hints that your good woman is to be held responsible for bad women. You get tired of hearing that. As a good woman, you get real tired of hearing that. It's like, what does that got to do with our realm? What does that have to do with our tranquility? We are one. Why are you polluting it with this negativity? And that's what I would say. That's my final thoughts on it. A good woman is a woman that has good intention to maintain the atmosphere of unity. That's what it is. And unity
Thank
means
you.
that you're not opponents. So I'm not gonna come to you with something, well, the white man does this, and he's not going to come to me, well, the white woman does that. Or look at those ratchets over there, and I'm not going to say, well, look at those deadbeats over there. No, that's not what constructs a everlasting love. It's not what does it. What does it is making sure that you understand you're not opponents. You're unified, and that's what's up.
Thank you, Mela. Perfect Blackness. You want to give us your final thoughts, please?
Yeah, I'll kind of in mind, final thoughts with how I started. Look, a good woman is a priceless woman, and look, and one aspect of that is what dictates what a good woman is not the woman, it's the man. Okay, men, just like a woman, she dictates sex, and the man dictates if it's going to be a marriage. So too that a man dictates. Okay, we see what a good woman is. It's how we define it, not how the woman defines it. You can't get all this education and be independent and all that. The minute that she says that she's independent and strong and independent, she has just made herself pretty much undesirable to pretty much most decent men that's out there. Bottom line, that's probably why a lot of them who are strong and independent get a lot of compromised men, because uncompromised men would not be controlled by anybody, least of all by a strong and independent woman. That's just the bottom line. So a good woman is priceless. Yeah, I know that that's subjective, because what a good woman is to me, I know it's probably going to be a different. It's going to be different from say from Jack Spade. It's going to be different from another man. But a good woman to me is going to be submissive. She's going to be agreeable. She's going to be on my program, and she's going to be feminine. She's going to be without. She's going to be without fake hair, fake nails. Bottom line. Anything outside of that, I'm sorry, I'm not looking at, not considering, don't want to consider. Period. Now, for another man, it may not be a bad thing, but I can tell you that I don't think Black women have really appreciated just how much Black men really compromise. Okay, we'll deal with the attitude. All right, we'll deal with the fact that you're a little bit overweight. We'll deal with the fact that you really sit around most of the day patting your weave and all that type of stuff. We'll deal with that. Can we just get a little bit of cooperation? So for me, a good woman is a woman that I will do just what I'm doing with my wife now, moving heaven and earth for exactly everything that she wants and then some.
Okay. Did we get final thoughts from everybody?
Let me get mine in so I can go.
Ed, go. Oh, I
Oh,
thought Mr. Research had already went. Go ahead, Mr. Research.
Oh no, I was just answering a question from earlier because I was quiet all that time. But this is my final thing. Um, I look at my sister and how disrespectful she treats her husband, a guy who at 26 years old put her in a 3-car garage home. 28 years old, Mercedes Benz. Okay, but money don't mean anything. A guy who's been loyal to her and infatuated with her on some movie romanticism ever since they were 17. Never hit her, never cheated on her. Now, I don't know if he got screwed up ways, huh? But he's a square. But this square one runs Northern California for his job. Sister still don't appreciate it. Sister is a person who believes that it just ain't good enough. I don't like the way I remember her and my other sister laughing. I don't like the way he has sex. Forget all these other values. So when it comes down to the word value, I honestly think you 20% women talk for the 80% way too much. You champion the 80% way too much. Sometimes I think you 20%ers need to step back and let the 80% actually speak for themselves, because I don't even think they know what value is. Beyond do for me, approach me, come to me, do what I say, a penis to control. Oh, wait a minute. Girl, he's 20 years old, but he a man. Girl, he ain't got no job, but he a man. Girl, why you having sex with him? You got 85 a year, he got 25. Well, he should want to do stuff better for himself. See, at some point in time, all the brothers are saying, we're starting to get scared of these black women here in America. Person like me, I don't hate black women. I just drive past because I realize that with self-centeredness that high, soon they're going to start attacking you 20%ers. You 20%ers are going to get called Ku Klux Klan names like Pick Me, Mammy, and all this classic crap, because women are attacking women now. Why? Just because they're happy in love with a black dude? That's scary. So it's best for the sons to look at how these women are doing, not be mad at them, not attack at them, walk away, get away. Because you got black French women, black Dutch women, black London women who understand what it's like. My last point, I'm sorry for long-winded. I was at the job today and I saw a Japanese girl who was a temp do the job well, but they went and got a Filipino just like them. Now, my department is 95% Filipino. That would never happen with a black woman in charge, because most of the 80% would say, no, we just got to get the right fit. See, everybody else is operating like a team. 20% Sister George, 20% C Rose. But the 80% don't even realize that you got to be a team. They're attacking black women. They're not developing their children. They can own a home and their children will come out with nothing and be struggling. And the white man will buy the home that the woman used to own. Let me not let the men off the hook. And these dudes, they just want somebody who will obey them and have random sex. This community is talks better than it acts out. So I'm too afraid to risk my life and my job to continue defending people who are just trying to stab themselves in the heart. It don't even make no sense. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Research. So we're going to let Ed go ahead and get in there and give us his final comments.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear your ass.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Appreciate it. Anyway, well, most y'all ain't gonna find good women, so I guess shit, find what you gonna settle for, and then just go from there. That's all.
And that's it. Okay. Thank you, Ed.
I see
Then we
Jack
get
came back in.
Jack, you got anything, buddy? All right.
Well,
Oh,
I'll
I
go
thought I
ahead
had
and go.
dropped out. My bad.
I think it was someone in the comments.
I might have been cursing somebody else. Did y'all hear anything?
No.
All right. Thank you, Jesus. Y'all have a good weekend.
I can't even hear him.
Thank you, Jack. Okay, Concrete.
I was gonna say, I think it was George Frazier in the comments asked if we on the panel, the women on the panel, and I was trying to get in there, but it was during Miss J and Roger were kind of going back and forth. But he asked a question. He asked if we consider ourselves to be good women and why. I personally do consider myself to be not only a good woman, but a good person. And it really has little to do with my relationship. I'm a good woman because of my moral compass, because I'm kind, because I care for others, because I would give someone the shirt off my back, because I'm loving and amiable, because of, I'm positive and optimistic, I'm hardworking and loyal. There are a million other attributes that I can name, and they are bonus and pluses for my relationship. But it's not just, that's not the basis of what makes me a good woman. I think, me being a good person is what makes me a good mate. Not the fact that I'm a good mate is not what makes me a good person. So in addition to that, there was something else I think that Roger had said that I wanted to chime in on. I can't remember what it was, but I think that the topic was a very interesting one, as we typically do in this space, and I've kind of almost accepted it as kind of like it is what it is. We always divert back to, how awful Black women are. And I do want us to be able to stay on topic. I think that the negative aspects of Black women tied into the topic. So, it is what it is. But I do truly believe that a good woman is invaluable. I'm not a man, of course. However, I think that we hear men in this space talk so often about how very few that the number of good women is small, it's minute, it's a fraction of a percentage. So that in and of itself would denote that should you find a good woman, she's something of value because they're so far and few between. I think personally, if I had to guess, I would say maybe 30% of the women are good women, but on the flip side, it's probably about equal to, the good men. As a group, I think there's a lot of things that we definitely need to work on. Namely, number one is accountability. We can't work on anything that we have to work on. And this is to make us better people. It's not about, any partnership that we enter into, but we can't work on anything without first being accountable for our actions and facing the reality that we have some issues to overcome and work on. I'll shut up. This was a dope show. Really, really good show. Thank you guys for supporting. Thank everybody who came up on the panel. This was dope.
Yes, it was. You said a large mouthful.
I know. You ain't got to rub it in.
It's so funny because I'll sit around and I think about these questions, and I thought about George's question earlier about being a good woman, right? And would I consider myself a good woman? I think I'm okay. Like how I look at things, I try to be the best person that I can be, but I don't actually pedestalize myself in a certain sense.
Girl, you better toot your own horn. Who else gonna toot it for you?
My man, because I demonstrated to him.
Okay. That's good enough.
Yeah, so I don't tend to pedestalize myself in that sense because I don't want it to be like a thing to where I fail to meet him at a certain level. So I do try to be the best person that I can be. Now I've made mistakes and stuff and shit along the way, but
as we all have.
Yeah, and I feel like I constantly go on a journey of self-improvement and self-awareness and really getting down to the bottom of my bullshit and healing myself and making myself the best person I can be. And I really try to be a good person to the people around me. I think I'm fun, I'm loyal. I want to see people succeed. I want my man to lead me. I allow my man to lead me. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But it's just wanting to make an impact on a person even after I'm gone. want Curlin to really be like, damn, like if like I died or something. But anyway, thank you to everybody who joined us. Thank you to everybody who came to watch. We really, 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 really appreciate you guys. Thank you for everybody who joined the panel. Roger said something. I'm coming back to talk about it. Okay. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and we will see you guys on Sunday.
Peace, Black people.
Dope ass topic, and well, no, we'll keep that up.
Yeah, we got something exciting coming up soon. We'll just say that.
Okay. Well, you guys have a great night, and you guys be safe and stay your asses in the house if you can. Talk to y'all later.